Okay, I think we're live. It is actually 2 past 1 in the morning. It's 7/13, 2025, I think. And we're live. Let's see here. Good to see everybody. Um Paula's here. Hi Paula, how are you? Good to see you. Grandma Sherry's here. Good to see Grandma Sherry. Haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you. Nicole Watt is here. Hello, Nicole. There's Paula Fitzhenry again. Lisa Joe's in. Hey, Lisa Joe, how are you? Good to see you. Glad you could make it. I know it's late. Southern Gal's here too. Where's Southern Gal? Right there. Hey, Southern Gal, how are you? Thank you for making it. I know everybody's probably pretty tired. Dom's is here. Good to see Dom. Who else is in here? Good to see everybody. Like I said, couple things. Gonna go over the true crime cases of the week, but I'm also gonna start to get into this missing paddleboarder here, up here in Maine. People are being Tracy's here too. Hi Tracy, how are you? Good to see you. It's always good to see Tracy, always good to see everybody in here. So let's without further ado, let's see. Hold on a second here. Very good. I don't know what they did with StreamYard's dashboard here, but it's kind of funky. Miranda's here too. Hey Miranda, how are you? Good to see you. All right, let me play an intro. I'll be right back. It's good to see everybody. Like I said, hope everybody's well. Strange thing tonight is I went to go get my coffees, and of course, they're doing the fireworks tonight over in every single freaking town here in New Hampshire. So I was in traffic for about an hour. So that's why I'm a little late. But anyways, enough of that. Let's play my intro and we'll get right to it. Let's see here. The good news is I'm outside, so that's good news. Heather's here. Hi, Heather. How are you? Good to see you. Hope Heather's well. Sweet Dude Chibi's here. Good to see you. StreamYard has everything screwed up now. Yeah, it's I hate when they do stuff like that. It's kind of like when you go to a store that you've been going to forever and they change everything up, and now you got to go freaking find everything again. Same with StreamYard here, but we'll get through it. All right, let me play my intro and I'll be right back. All right, so hold on a second. Let me see. So the good news, I'm outside. Yay! It's not raining yet. So so finally, this is what day one this year of being outside. So that's good news. Dino's here. Where's Dino? Dino's here. Hey, buddy, what's going on? Glad everybody could show up. What was I going to say something. So the good news is I'm outside. And it's summertime. It was been pretty nice here the last couple of days. But of course, my day off today. It rained most of the day. But it's been good. It's been good. The weather's been good. It's not snowing, so that's good news. It's always good. Looks spooky there, Dave. Why do I look spooky? Anyways, hope everybody's doing well. I got a couple things to say. I was in Southern Gal's chat tonight earlier. And the reason why I had to bug out of the chat is because, of course, I was in traffic for an hour for fireworks. So they were letting us. Of course, it was perfect timing. I was there right as everybody was leaving, so there was hundreds and hundreds of people. And anyways, enough of me. All right, so I'm gonna go quickly to let's go quickly to this paddleboarder thing. Hold on a second here. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this here. I know that I think Gazella did a little bit of this here a couple days ago, I think. But this has been going on. Let me try to find. All right, so we'll play this one first. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. Amy G. Okay, I don't know if you guys have heard of her. I'm gonna hold on a second. I'm gonna put this in the chat. Okay, so she's awesome. I was over there the other day, and I'm gonna try to promote her channel here because she's really good. So if you guys want to go over there and give Amy a thumbs up, she's really good. She's been working on some of the Delphi stuff, and I think I did this right. Not sure. But she's awesome. Great person. Heather's in here too. I have the GoFundMe for Heather here, screaming across the bottom of the screen here. Amy G is awesome. Yes, she's fantastic. Luis Cuevas is in here. Hey, Luis, good to see you. So I got that streaming across the bottom here. She's not feeling very well, so it would be great if we could just kind of. I know that people are planning to do some more benefits for Heather. Heather's an amazing person. She's just arguably one of the greatest persons on the planet. So we just want to do the best we can for Heather. Hope she's feeling okay today. All right, so let's go to this here. So we're gonna go to we'll play this one here from News Nation here, and I'll try to pull up some maps here to give you some of the love you too, kiddo. I don't know why people are still talking about Delphi. I don't, but she's got some good. She's got a great accent. I know that. That's for sure. All right, so hold on a second. Let me play this here. So over the past three or 4 weeks have been a lot of these water. You have that this time of the year. We have a lot of water unalivings, and there's been a few, especially in Maine. Maine is very weird, so to speak. It's there's so many different types of lakes in Maine. I mean, it's beautiful in Maine, but you have a lot of these. How do I say this? People who just go out and get into trouble on the waters and stuff like so. There's been a lot of that happening lately, but this particular case here, they've ruled this a homicide. I think the initial report was it wasn't, and then they said it was, but they're being very tight-lipped about this here, and that's typical of Maine. If anybody's been to Maine, you know how kind of reclusive it is. But anyways, we'll play this here and then try to pull up some. There's very little information on who this person is. What happened? There's been no COD yet on this, but I'm assuming they ruled this a homicide because they probably didn't find any water in her lungs. I mean, I'm just assuming that. So let's play this here. But this was done 21 hours ago. So Stephen Betts, a reporter for the Mid-Coast Villager, joins Banfield on the hunt for the person responsible for this 48-year-old paddleboarder. Body was found on July 3rd, so about a week ago. The night after she set out on the water alone, the state medical examiner ruled the death a homicide, but the cause of death is unknown. So they're being tight-lipped about this, and nobody knows why. But here it is.
Case, because this is an area where this stuff doesn't happen. The body of Sunshine Stewart was found July 3rd near 100 Acre Island. That's the name of the island on Crawford Pond in the town of Union, Maine. Stewart was 48 years old. She was a paddleboarder who went out on the water alone the evening before her body was discovered. And initially, because this is such a quiet area, people assumed that this was a boating accident. They didn't think murder or anything bad until the state medical examiner ended up ruling it a homicide. Now, police have not revealed Stewart's.
Where would we be without Shibby? I might have to go up here. It's just one of these. The Crystal, I think it's Crystal Lake or Pond where she was found. It's a very, I don't even think people are supposed to be there. It's a very reclusive place. So it's one of those communities where you have to know somebody to be there. But here we go.
Cause of death, so we don't know the exact specifics, but we know homicide. But we don't know what makes them think that there is a killer on the loose. They're not giving very much information. Today, the ME's office told us, quote, we got a statement. It says, in Maine, autopsy reports are not available to third parties without next of kin permission. With the ongoing investigation into Miss Sunshine.
Okay, so let me read. In Maine, autopsy reports are not available to third parties without next of kin permission. That's weird. With the ongoing investigation into Mrs. Sunshine Stewart's death, that can't be her real name. No, I mean, it could be, but I don't think it is. No further information has been released. So, and of course, all of the crime, myself, too. Social media is all over this. So, Maine is like really weird. Maine is, there's people in Maine that don't know places in Maine. I mean, Maine is really strange. I've been following the Kimberly Moreau case up in Maine for a couple of years now, thanks to Whole Truth. Things are very hush hush up here, so you're probably not going to hear a lot. But this is a little strange here, this case.
Stewart's death, no further information will be released. The owner of a local campground says investigators have been searching the area every single day since Stewart's body was discovered, and that they have been focusing on a dumpster. Apparently, earlier this week, they started focusing on this dumpster
that's so nice.
in the campground area, which is right next to the waterway there. Investigators have asked anyone who may have seen Stewart paddle boarding last Wednesday between 6 and 9 p.m. to contact them immediately. So there's still a lot of questions with this one. I want to bring in someone who's been following this case very, very closely, Stephen Betts. He is a reporter for Maine's Mid-Coast Villager and has the scoop on the ground there. First of all, Stephen, thank you.
This guy here just had it with this case. I mean, everybody's been coming. He's like one of the most prominent reporters up there. I got another video of him too, but he's basically been like hounded, and he doesn't know anything either, and nobody knows anything except for the state police. So this isn't going to give us any information here from him, but they've been national media, local media, everybody's been coming to this guy for information. He doesn't have any. Oh.
Thank you for joining us. Population of Union, Maine, just over 2,000 people, really a small community. I'm assuming a crime like this must be pretty rare there.
Oh, yeah. This is extremely rare. I've been covering the news in this area, the whole county, for 44 years. And not once have we had a homicide where it's not within a day or so clear on who did it. You have spousal deaths, child abuse, or drug deals gone bad. But this is the first case in where there seems to be no reason behind it. And of course, there's no suspect been named. So it's left people fearful.
Yeah, you can't blame them. Are you getting the sense, Stephen, based on the information that you have, that this may have just been random, that she went out paddleboarding and something, someone she doesn't know did something?
Did I say hi to Nicole yet? Hi, Nicole. How are you? Good to see you. I got home from a concert and I'm tired, so I will see how long I can stay awake. What concert did you go to see? I can't do concerts anymore, man. I just can't do it. I shouldn't say that because a couple years ago we went to see Dave Matthews, but
Something to her?
Well, this is the unsettling part, is you don't know. State police have been very tight-lipped about it, and probably for good reason, because they don't want to give away information only the killer would have. But yes, that obviously is one of the possibilities. Is this was just a stranger, a random act. That the lake has a campground where you can have access to, but that's privately owned, and there was no public access points on the lake. But there's probably 100 properties around around Crawford Pond, and many of them have docks. So the person could have come from any of these places.
So is it an island, Stephen? Is that correct? Is it totally surrounded by water? The location where Sunshine's body was found. So someone had to take a boat to get there.
Well, they would have to take a boat to get to the island. Yes.
So let me do this. Hold on a second. I want to give people some sort of let me do this here. Hold on a second here. Stop screen. Share screen. Sorry, they changed this whole thing on me here. All right, so this is where the incident, I guess, took place here. This is Crawford Pond. I think I said, did I say Crystal Lake or Crystal Pond? But this is, so let me give people an idea of where this is. So we're going to zoom out here. Maine is a really strange big state because it's got a lot of coast, right? There's a lot of coast here in Maine. I love the coast of Maine. The Maine coast is awesome. It's just way too cold. The water's way too cold for me. But, you know, if you ever take a drive, want to take a real drive up a rocky coast here, this is the place to do it. But there's places in here in Maine that people don't even know where they are, right? This place here, I've been told that this is kind of like you don't just go here to vacation or whatever. You have to kind of be invited in. This is a strange little lake pond that, so this is basically where she was paddleboarding. But I don't even think she's from here. So let's go back to the video. Hold on a second here. I mean, there's nobody there. This time of the year, a lot of people there, but I think it's a very private place. So let me go back here. So there's Crawford Pond. We were just there, right? And this is a family campground in here, so I'm assuming she was staying probably up here.
100-acre island is actually an island within Crawford Pond, though the police have not yet said that she was found on the island. They've said they've asked for people who, if they saw anything around 100-acre island between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. on July 2nd. So it's been 9 days, and still no one knows exactly what happened. So we don't know if she died on the island or on the shore or on the water near the island.
Sometimes I've found, Stephen, that police will be quiet initially because they have information that they're trying to follow up on and they don't really need the media's.
Okay, so I want to go back here. Hold on a second. John Paul Hanson's in here. Hey, buddy, what's going on? John Paul Hanson's in here. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Didn't expect to see too many people in here tonight because of the fireworks and shit like that, but it's good to see everybody here. Don't forget, if anybody's got a channel or anybody that knows got a channel, there's a lot of great creators here. There's John Paul Hanson's in here. Southern Gal is amazing. She's in here. Feel free to throw your links in the chat here. So let's hold on a second. I want to go show you guys some images of this here. I may have to go up here. So far, it's just my God, it's awful. But I'm a pretty good snoop when it comes to stuff like this. I know where to go. Diners and stuff like that, or just try to get some information. But so this is Crawford Pond here. I mean, these places up here are really nice. It's just normally really cold. So that looks good. So I'm just giving you a kind of like lay of the land here. You could definitely drown in here for sure. But it's really, I can't stress enough how reclusive this place is. It's not like you can just show up here and hang out. You kind of have to be. This is all private properties around here. I don't even think there's like a main place to beach or whatever. So all right, so that's that. Let's go back to here. You was bored. So share screen. Gretchen's in here. Hi, Gretchen.
Help
all right.
At that point. Are you getting that sense? I mean, do you think there's a very active?
I'll get used to this new StreamYard thing soon. Apologize, but it changed it on me. It's Gretchen. Hey, Gretchen, how are you? Good to see you. Just going over this missing paddle boarder. Well, not missing paddle boarder, but this Sunshine Stewart case here.
Investigation behind the scenes, or are you getting the sense that they have no idea who did this?
I really don't know that, but it's definitely an active investigation. They have been down there every day since July 3rd is when her body was found, and they've been down there. They've searched the island. The island is owned by the Georgia River Land Trust, and they got permission to search the entire island. They've been going along the shoreline. So, I mean, that's what you're doing.
This would take me almost all day to get out there and to get back. Literally, it would take me. And I'm over here in New Hampshire, so I'm not technically, if you look at it on the map, I'm not very far. But it's just, you can't get there easily. I'd have to go up 95 and go. It's like, fuck that. But I might have to go up here. And the other case that I followed, been following, the Kimberly Moreau case, is way up. That's way up in J Main. So, anyways, enough about me. But I might have to go up here, snoop around, see what's going on.
Thorough investigation, and they've done that. Maine State Police have a very good track record of solving homicides.
They're terrible.
So you hope with time, and maybe with forensic evidence, they'll be able to find out who this is.
We've reported there's been roughly 13 other deaths in New England. There's been some suspicion that could there be a serial killer out there because they've been finding remains and bodies over the last several months. Do you think that this could all be connected?
Well, frankly,
I don't think so, but it's possible. Big Fish is in here. Good to see Big Fish. I'm going to say to you now, Big Fish, thank you for coming in, because at the end of the lives, I always forget to say thank you for coming in. So I'm going to say it now so I don't forget. All right, back to this.
I've never heard about that New England serial killer theory until about a day or two ago.
Yeah, I'm kind of over in here, and it looks really close on a map, but to get from here to there is almost impossible. I have to go all the way down here to 95, out by the coast. I mean, I could go up this way and over this way here, but this is like no man's land up here. So this would take me a good 4 hours to get here, at least.
But there's no evidence. I mean, there really isn't.
Even in the Maserati, I mean, that would take me a good 4 hours for sure. I mean, look at this place. It's just pretty sure it's nice up there.
The police haven't certainly said that, and there's really no clear evidence. I mean, we do have an unsolved death, and there are other unsolved deaths throughout New England, but whether they're connected, I don't know, and no one in authority has said that.
Let me know if Gretchen wants a wrench. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dee Dee's fairly exhausted. She was up this morning doing lives all over the place. Um, hope she's well. She's awesome too. Dirty Diana's awesome too. Um, wow, what an area to search. Yeah. Um, like I said, I've been lost in Maine a lot. That's how I know the state really well because I've been lost up there millions of times, sometimes voluntarily. But there's people in Maine that don't know. I mean, it's just such a vast place, and it's just very remote. Some places are very remote. You can only get there by like there's only one way in, one way out. It's very reclusive too.
Yeah, and police haven't made any connections yet. We've been trying to piece it all together. They haven't connected any of the deaths yet. But like what you said is interesting. This Micmac family campground, and the owner apparently there says she's got these motion cameras and hasn't seen anything on the camera. So it is interesting. Whoever did this to this woman, Sunshine, how she was how they were able to get there without being.
And I don't even know if this woman's married. I don't know if she has a significant other. I don't know anything about this woman. I've been trying to find information about her, but like I said, it's very quiet with the investigation here, so I don't know. Because that's the first thing you'd think of is, husband or boyfriend or something. But I mean, I think she's 49, so she's I don't want to say she's old, but she's not young. So who knows? I don't know.
Being spotted. We'll stay on it. Stephen Betts, really appreciate you coming on with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to bring in Meredith Smith now. She's been friends with Sonny for more than 40 years. Thank you so much for being with us.
Okay, so this is interesting. They have a friend here. Okay, good.
Meredith, I'm so sorry about what happened to your friend. First of all, I mean, the pictures, she looks like such a lovely woman, enjoyed the outdoors, was on the paddleboard. Tell us a little bit about Sonny.
Sonny was a very vibrant person, outgoing, silly at times, strong-willed, independent.
I mean, from all that I can gather too, she's been paddleboarding for a while, so she's pretty experienced at it. She just didn't decide one day to go out and paddleboard like people do sometimes. So I don't know. It's just a weird thing here, weird case.
Adventurous. She was just an overall great person.
Is there anyone that you know of that would have wanted to hurt her?
No, nobody wants to hurt Sonny. I mean, that's the scary part about it, is because she had a lot of friends, like all over the world, really, because she was very worldly. And yeah, there's nobody that would want to hurt her. So that, like I said, is scary for everybody else around here, because, if that can happen to someone like her, then it can definitely happen to anybody.
You mentioned she had friends all over the world. What kind of work did she do?
She was a carpenter. She was a marine biologist.
Oh, shit.
She did lobstering. So she was a jack of many trades, master of none for a woman.
What was she trusting? I'm just wondering if she met someone, if she was on the paddleboard. I mean, was she the type of person that would have followed someone and was just had like a trusting spirit?
No, not with somebody that she didn't know. If somebody, like a stranger, had asked her for help or something, she would surely grab one of her friends and be like, come on, let's go help this person. She's very wise in her ways. So I just don't think
Did
that
she
would
know
take
the
off
area?
somebody. She knew the area, yes.
Did she?
We actually grew up here in Union and going to this lake frequently. And so she was very familiar with her.
So she grew up in Union. Okay, so hold on a second here. Pretty sure I knew this. Hold on a second here. Um, I'm trying to get share screen. Okay. So Crawford Pond is here. So let's get some directions here. Let's okay, so this is Union up here, I think. Here's Crawford Pond. So it's 5 miles. It's not that far at all. I believe that's Union here. So she's from Union up in here, and I mean that's what South Union here. Okay. A lot of this information I'm just finding out too here. So let's go back to hold on a second. Did I even share that? No, I did not. All right, so there's Union there, roughly 9 minutes. So there's East Union there. I don't think I've ever been here at all, ever. I might have. But so she's from up in here somewhere, and that's when she was found here, down in Crawford Pond. So, like I said, it's about 5 miles, 9 minutes. So, all right. What am I doing? I'm going over here, and then we're going to go over here.
Surroundings.
Okay, so it was a place that she would paddleboard regularly.
Hey, Zero Cool, good to see you. Zero Cool's in here. Who else snuck in?
Yes.
So, what do you make of it, Meredith? I mean, it seems like such an awful mystery. I mean, there's not a lot of crime in this area. She sounds like a wonderful person. She didn't have any enemies. What do you think may have happened here?
I'm not sure. My strong gut feeling tells me because Crawford Pond is really hard to get to unless you live in the area and know a way around it and frequent the campground. It's really hard to get there. So I feel like it's somebody that is local or somebody.
Like if you were trying to book a vacation and you wanted to go to this place, you would literally have to probably know somebody to do that. It's not going to be something that you can just, like the coast of Maine, right? Like Kittery or some of the other beaches. This is kind of remote. You'd have to know somebody to get in here.
That attends the campground quite frequently. And I don't think that it was a target on her. I think maybe it was just something random that happened to her, or maybe somebody was fixated on her. I have no idea. It just doesn't make any sense at all.
I guess that's the scary thing about it. If it was random and it could have been anyone, have police come and spoken to you at all?
No, they haven't spoken to me at all. I did get a tip today about some people that might be possibly involved that I did give to the police to look at. So I did speak to them about that. Nothing real big or anything. So just some people's names.
Are you don't have to give the names, obviously, but are you able to share a little bit more? I mean, is it people who were just in the area around the same time as Sunny, or what made you think it was a tip?
It was the night of at the campground, the incident when it happened. They were there. One of the people had already been interviewed, and another one, I believe, hadn't been interviewed. So
that's so strange. That's so strange. It seems like she's saying that somebody, they've contacted her already, about people being. So apparently something happened the night before, right?
Hoping they'll follow up a little bit more.
Is it a quiet campground? I mean, what is the sort of the vibe of the campground that's right there?
There's no such thing as a quiet campground. I mean, I don't know anybody who's been to a campground. It's usually not quiet. Especially around July 4th weekend, it's going to be a little bit more rowdy, I would think.
Oh, everybody there is they pretty much know each other really well, and they get along for the most part. It's a lot of seasonal campsites, very friendly, very tight knit group. I mean, there's a few others that come in, of course, from out of state or whatever. But yeah, it's a really great place, and everybody's like really relaxed and really kind, and you would never suspect.
Then you add alcohol and other stuff. So, yeah.
Anything going on down there like that.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based.
All right, so that's the end of that one. I do want to play this law and crime one here.
So much time exploring the wilderness in Maine. She was found dead roughly a week ago after she went missing for her killer. We are following a murder mystery that has put.
So this is another clip. This was done 3 days ago. 48-year-old Sonny Stewart, outside enthusiasm, went missing while paddleboarding on July 2nd at Crawford Pond, Union, Maine. Was later found unalive by police following morning. Authorities have now confirmed her death as a homicide. Obviously, they haven't released, but the police are saying be vigilant on all of that stuff. So that's caused a lot of people to be a little bit like, what the hell's going on here?
People on edge.
How do you stay vigilant when there's unaliver around? I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to do that.
The heart of New England. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
Mama Duck is here. Where's Mama Duck? There she is. Good to see Mama Duck in here. I hope you're a she. Good to see you. Who else came in?
If you watch Law and Crime, you follow true crime, you certainly join us for On the Case, you know that murder can happen anywhere. And even though it's cliche, I will say it, that murders typically don't happen in the place that we're talking about today. This is Sunshine Stewart. People called her Sunny. She was 48 years old and just a lover of the outdoors and spent so much time exploring the wilderness in Maine. She was found dead roughly a week ago after she went missing paddleboarding. This is the pond where she was paddleboarding. It's called Crawford Pond in Union, Maine, which is a community, small town, less than 2,500 people. It's about an hour and a half away from Portland, Maine.
Have a good night, Dom. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Always good to see you here. You have not been excused. All right, so let's go back up to here.
And a 3-hour drive from Boston. Before I get into the clues that detectives may have in this case, let's start with the circumstances surrounding Sonny Stewart's disappearance. This is what we know. Police say on the evening of July 2nd, so roughly about a week ago, Sonny went paddleboarding.
It's so weird. Like, if you're in Boston, it's a lot easier to get to this location than where I am, which is strange because in Boston, you just hop on 95 and you're there. I mean, it's just all highway driving. But for me, being where I am, it's a lot of back roads, then highway. And then, because for some reason in New Hampshire, they don't believe in an east to west highway. So, takes a long time to get to the coast and then you get up the coast. And then, so it's probably about 4 hours for me, where if you live in Boston or anywhere around like a big city, you can just hop on a highway. That's the way it is.
At night. Police believe it was between 6 and 9 p.m. on Crawford Pond. Her friend told a local newspaper in Maine called.
We don't know. We don't know if they have any suspects or not. They're being Maine is very tight-lipped. They don't say a lot.
the Mid-Coast Villager, that Sonny was planning to spend the summer in a camper at the Micmac Campground, which is on the north side of Crawford Pond, has access to the water. You can see it on this map. Now, the owner of the campsite posted on Facebook these pictures of law enforcement at the campsite and on the water. Her campsite, she says, is not a crime scene. She said she's not doing media interviews, but not only is law enforcement using her campsite, she has been cooperative in the investigation and in speaking with them. Police were called on July 2nd after Sonny didn't return to the Micmac campsite. Before dawn the next morning, Maine State Police, which were called in overnight to try and find Sonny Stewart, say they found her body on the north side of the pond near an island. Maine State Police said that Sonny was murdered, but at this point, they're not releasing her cause of death, and frankly, it's unclear why. We'll dive into that a little bit more in a moment. We do know that an autopsy determined that her death was a homicide, and when Sonny's body was found, police say the circumstances led them to call in their major crimes unit. So it appears that it was.
So I'm just going to read this here because I think this is important here. So all you have to do is basically search water in the lungs homicide, right? So in homicide cases, the presence of water in the lungs, typically indicative of drowning, is a significant finding, while dry drowning is a misnomer. The core issue in drowning deaths is the impairment of respiratory function due to liquid entering the airway. So basically, the rundown is if there's water in the lungs, it's probably a drowning. If there isn't water in the lungs, she's probably dead before she hit the water. So, but that's not always 100% accurate. In case of suspected homicide, a forensic pathologist will examine the lungs, airways, and other organs for evidence of drowning, such as presence of water, foam, pulmonary edema, fluid backup, or any other signs of respiratory distress. So, circumstantial evidence, the presence of water in the lungs, along with other evidence like the location, circumstances of the incident, and any signs of struggle or foul play, helps determine the cause of death and whether it was an accident or intentional. So, my opinion, it's probably a couple of both of these things: water in the lungs or lack of, or circumstantial evidence. And here's a quick note: symptoms of drowning can sometimes manifest hours or even a day after. So that's weird. Okay, so back to this here.
Was apparent that the kind of case police were dealing with was not just a missing paddleboarder or potentially an accidental death, but they say this was a murder. Now, it's unclear if police have any suspects or whether the community is still considered in danger. Maine State Police did write, quote, members of the public are encouraged to remain aware of their surroundings and report any suspicious behavior to law enforcement. Friends described Stewart as a free spirit. Again, she loved the outdoors. She had a tattoo that read, "If you don't like your life, change it." It appears that Stewart lived alone, according to friends who spoke with the Mid-Coast Villager.
So that's strange, right? She lived alone.
She lived in a house that they say she rebuilt in Tennants Harbor, Maine, which is about a half hour away from Union and Crawford.
Okay, so that's important. Tennants Harbor. I don't have to stop a second, look for it here. Okay.
Crawford Pond, where she was murdered, according to police. Union is also where she grew up, the outlet says. Now, the friend also said that Sonny only had been at the campground for a couple days before her death. And when you look at the map, you can see that island in the middle of the pond. That is 100-acre island. According to the Mid-Coast Villager, that island is a nature preserve. People can camp there, but only with permission.
Okay, so hold on a second. Let me go back to this. Like I said, I'm learning a lot about this stuff real time here. So Tennants Harbor, I know, is further. So she's down. She's down here. She lived down here, so it's about 30 minutes away, but it's still, definitely driving distance. All right, so that makes more sense. Go back to the video.
From the land trust that runs the island. It is open to the public during the day, but an interesting piece of information about this pond is that there's no public access to Crawford Pond.
Right. So, that's pretty much what I thought. If you go, like, there's places in Maine you can go to, but you just can't get in. You need, it's like that here in New Hampshire too. Some of the places here in New Hampshire, you actually need, it's technically private property. You can't be on there unless you get invited in or somebody on there, in there. There's a campground here, but there's no beach. I don't think there's any beach access here or boat launches here. So, you wouldn't really need a boat launch for a paddleboard, but she must have known. She had to have known somebody up in here. That's what I'm trying to get at. She probably knew somebody up here.
The shoreline is all privately owned by either people who have homes there or by the campsite that Sunny was reportedly staying at. Join us now to help us break down this investigation is the host of the Gold Shields podcast and former NYPD detective Tom Smith. Always great to have you on Law and Crime. Very bizarre case here, certainly in a place that typically doesn't see this type of crime.
Isn't that strange? Don't you think that's a little strange that everybody else uses the metric system and we don't? I've always found that to be a little strange. Do we just don't like the metric system, or it's weird.
But this paddleboarder just goes out and then she winds up, according to police, being murdered. What does your gut tell you right now about what potentially could have happened?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that could be running through people's minds and my mind as well. The first thing...
This guy's pretty cool, Tom Smith. I've seen him... Where have I seen him before? I've seen him on, is it Duty Run? Or some of the other channels. It's pretty smart.
That popped up that I was very curious about in just the reporting was the autopsy was not going to be made public as far as the cause of death. That leads me to believe that they're looking into other things, or it is a strange way that she died. Normally it would come right out with, okay, this was the cause of death and that was the cause of death. And there's always a reason in my mind, because I did it, there's a reason for holding things back. And
it is a pretty basic measurement system, right? We learned about that shit in school, and we were told then, some of us did anyways, that the metric system is, I don't know what put me on that tangent. I think it was Shibby. They do everything backwards in Canada anyways, so who knows? Not everything, but some things.
And at this moment, I don't know what it is, but that was the first thing that jumped out to me, that the report was not going to be made public, or her cause of death was.
What are some of the reasons, and we're speculating on this, but what are...
I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Have you? Has anybody ever heard of them not releasing a cause of death or COD? I'm 51 and so confused when I look at an imperial measuring tape. That's too funny. Yeah, I was sub to Duty Ron too. Duty Ron is a great guy. He's not saying anything bad about Duty Ron. I'm just saying it happens to a lot of these creators, like a lot of these former law enforcement agencies, people that get involved in true crime. They kind of like Pat Brown. I love Pat Brown when she first came out, but they get a little bit too I don't know. They lose sight of what they're in the business for, I think, but who knows? Not saying anything bad. Just plus, Duty Ron is just definitely pro prosecution for sure.
Are some of the reasons that you would not release the cause of death, but say it was a homicide?
The main...
That's what I like about Mr. Steve is he's not big-headed. There you go. He's not 100% pro prosecution or pro law enforcement. He's just Mr. Steve. He'll call people out when he feels like it's necessary to call people out. It's funny.
Main reason would be that they may be linking it to other deaths and other homicides, and the cause of death was pretty extreme or rare that may be linked to other deaths in that area.
I wonder if she was roofied or something like that. Yeah, I always why do I always go to that? I think that would take a lot longer to get that information back. I'm starting to wonder, we covered the whole New England SKer a couple of times here in the past month or so. I'm not saying that this is connected with that, but I wouldn't be surprised since all the buzz around it. It wouldn't shock me. That would be one reason I think that they would be maybe trying to hide the cause of death. No, she definitely. They definitely consider her to be a homicide victim. Um,
So
question,
there's a coordinated effort maybe going on with other departments and checking, mysterious homicides or unsolved homicides so far and finding out that cause of death and linking it maybe to this one.
Wow. To think of where this story could go.
that would make sense to me. That would make a lot more sense if they're trying to, I don't know, maybe connect these to different other in the area homicides or things that they thought weren't homicides at the time. Who knows? But that would make a little bit of sense to me. I should just ask Tracy. I should do.
As far as specifically related to Sunny Stewart, she goes out on a paddle boat. And one thing that stood out to me, paddleboard, was that this is not a public access beach. And the fact it's a pond, it's a contained area. Specifically the body of water that she was in. It's not like the ocean where there can be so many variables. But one thing that also stood out to me is that there's no public access to getting to the water.
See, that right there tells me the fact that it's a private type place is telling me that. I mean, it doesn't have to tell me, but it's starting to creep up in the percentage that she kind of knew somebody there and somebody was with her or somebody. Because, like I said, you just can't walk onto this place, but you never know.
You either have to own a house or you're in this campground. How does that factor into how the investigators go about this search?
Oh, it narrows their field down dramatically. When you're talking about a public access, that is anyone, and I truly mean anyone. When you have this kind of limited access, it does narrow it down to finding out maybe is there membership cards that are involved in accessing that area.
Yeah, that's the first. If I was a police officer, it's the first thing that I would probably be making a list of who last had contact with her, who she was. But it seems to me like this person here was kind of like, I don't want to say a recluse, but she wasn't really dependent upon anybody. But, to get to this place and to be on this place, you probably have to be invited into. So that's telling me that, she was not, maybe not there with somebody, but she was in association with somebody to be there. What do you think? I don't know.
Who's in that area? Cell hits of cell phones that are on at that time in that area. So it dramatically.
There's no cell phone. I can almost guarantee you that the cell phone service there is pretty rare. You have to be in the right spot, the right provider. I would doubt cell phone service is 100% over there. That's just my opinion.
Chris, narrows the field down for an investigator to start really pounding away at
probably look that up.
One particular area.
How do you go about when you are pounding away? I mean, specifically, what are you looking for that can help you understand who might have been in the area at the time that this happened?
Yeah, you know what? A lot of it has to do with the victim and going into victimology is what we call it, of her pattern.
You guys are making me hungry talking about these baked potatoes. I like sour cream or plain yogurt. Plain yogurt and chives.
What did she do every day?
Did you have a good week, Heather, or no? Anything with like chive is good. God, it sounds good. I'm more of a plain butter and salt and pepper. I like salt and pepper too. Good band. You guys are making me hungry though with this baked potato shit. Anybody have pierogies? Pierogies. My first wife was how do I say this politically correct? She's Polish, and she made the best pierogies ever. She made them by hand scratch, like they were the best. I used to eat them all the time for breakfast, lunch, dinner. There was always a kitchen full of dough and flour and friggin', but she made really good pierogies. And once you fry those things up, man, they're pretty good. Maple syrup pierogies, they're great for breakfast too, for sure. Screw the eggs, give me a pierogi.
Day, how often does she go there? And then going into her social media account and seeing whether any strange communication she had with anyone. Hey, I go to that lake too, let's meet up. Anything along those lines, any relationship she's had with anyone.
They were better when she was high. Take off A, you hoser. Oh, fucking shibby. Oh. Those two guys, was that Bob and Zip? Those two guys are freaking hilarious. Oh.
In that area that has access.
I don't even think they were Canadian, right? Bob and Zip, they weren't really. That was, who was that? The guy that played in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right? Is that, what the hell was his name?
To that lake. That'd be the first thing I'd be doing. You know, looking for bad guys is one thing, but a lot of times looking into the victim leads.
Those guys were so funny. Canadian humor.
You to the bad guy because of a relationship or some sort of communication she may have had with someone in that area.
Rick Moranis, that's
as far as the autopsy not being released and whatever the reason may be for that. The other thing that stood out to me was,
yeah, somebody go out and get potatoes. Yeah, Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis. That's right. He was in Ghostbusters too. 100% both. Really? Canadian, both of them? No.
Was that she was found, I think, sometime before dawn, and law enforcement had been called in about 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was written by Maine State Police that the major.
What did he say?
Is one thing, but a lot of times looking into the victim leads you to the bad guy because of a relationship or some sort of communication she may have had with someone in that area.
As far as the autopsy not being released and whatever the reason may be for that, the other thing that stood out to me was that she was found, I think, sometime before dawn, and law enforcement had.
Did he say dawn or dark? I guess it would be the same thing. No, it wouldn't be.
For that. The other thing that stood out to me was that she was found, I think, sometime before dawn. And
dawn, okay, but before dawn. So that would be in the morning?
Law enforcement had been called in about 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was written by Maine State Police that the major crimes unit was called once her body was found, which tells me that the way that she died, that there was something apparent that this was not a drowning or something that could have been accidental. What does that tell you?
Yeah, absolutely. When you bring in other resources to help.
That was Ghostbusters was such a great movie. The Keymaster, that's right. Martin Short. Remember him and oh my God, those two guys. John Candy was awesome. He's great. He's dead. Pretty sure he's dead, right? He played good. Was he in? He was in King Ralph. No, that wasn't him. John Candy was awesome. Whoops, sorry.
Out in the investigation, it's the expertise of that particular department that's intriguing. You know, what are they looking at, and what other cases do they have that they're looking at that may match up with this? So that is a specific detail that should intrigue a lot of people of other agencies getting involved in an investigation.
What does a major crimes unit bring to the table that other units involved in the search may not have?
Experience, for sure. Number one, when you deal with small towns, not to put down small towns, but if they're not actively involved in numerous investigations like this, you call in people who've done it before.
That's right. John Goodman was in King Ralph. That was funny. That was a good movie. He was in The Great Outdoors, Home Alone, and in Cool Runnings. They're also good. Yep, they're all good. SCTV was a great show. So wasn't what was that other one with Jim Carrey? Now I can't remember the name of that show either.
For and have a track record of homicide investigations. The other thing that they bring is resources. They probably have a tremendous amount of resources.
The show with the Wayans brothers, right? The oh my god, I'm drawing a blank now. Living Color? Is it in Living Color?
That they can tap into with scuba,
Yeah,
aviation, technical support, and also the power of whatever DA's office is in that area. If they're dealing with them a lot because of past cases, you want a strong DA involved in this when and if you arrest somebody.
And one thing too, not to put down small towns, and everybody wants to live in a place where murder does not regularly happen, and Maine is a place like that. I mean, they certainly have had issues, like I think of the mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine. So you do have some experience in terms of handling very serious crimes like what they're dealing with here in the Sonny Stewart case.
There's more than people think there is. There's like I said, the Kimberly Moreau case. We covered the mass shooting up there in Lewiston. I think that was 2 years ago. Was that 2 years ago now?
But how do those major crimes units in places that are more rural, the places that don't regularly see crimes like this, how do we as the public know that they're prepared to investigate this case compared to a department in a place like New York or Chicago or the communities that do unfortunately see violence on a more regular basis?
Yeah, and that's the key part. It's not, like you said, not putting anyone down, but you want the best available to investigate, big crimes and violent crimes. And if you have one particular agency that's better at it because of the experience they have, that's what you want. But here's the one thing that's small.
Strange how she was found before dawn, right? It's that's interesting.
Towns have that a bigger department or investigative body like the state police won't have. They have a knowledge of the area. That's why they have to work together. They know the people. They know different tendencies. They know cars. They know neighborhoods. So that's where the bond of working a case like this is important, because you're kind of tapping into both areas. The expertise of doing an investigation, and then the expertise of the people who know that area and the people who are there.
And as far as Sonny Stewart, she was staying at this campground. And apparently that campground has been cooperative, or at least they're saying on social media they've been cooperative with. That's where the staging area.
I wonder who called it in. I wonder who was the one that found her. I wonder who called it in. Like I said, they're being very hush hush, like strange, right? Like that's weird.
It has been for law enforcement to then investigate in the waters. But that's a very transient place of where people may be on vacation, people who maybe, seems like Sonny Stewart was going to be spending the summer in a camper so she could experience the outdoors, which she loved. What type of challenges could you face at a campsite that you might not if this happened in an apartment building?
Oh, a tremendous amount. Just the cross-contamination of any evidence that might be there. That's where the tricky part comes into with automobiles, with bicycles, with motorcycles, with all that just running all over, potential evidence that's in that area. But what you want to do in areas like that, Chris, is just talk to people. Evidence collection would be very rough to do, but more important.
Southern Gal is an amazing person. She's got a great channel. She's one of the best. She does really, really great work. Good to have her here.
is talking to people who were there. When's the last time you saw her? Was she with anybody? What was her actions like? What was her demeanor like? When you had spoken to her. So in interviews are very important when it comes to that, because everyone, someone saw her, someone had an interaction with her beforehand. So those are the people you need to find.
Yeah, and it was
all right. So I'm gonna keep following this. Just wanted to cover that. They're basically talking about cop talk now, and what did I want to? Okay, so we'll get out of this here. I do want to cover this. This here. Remember the on a second here. Let me share this. Was it a friend camping with her or next to her that reported? I think that's what I heard. I think so too. I'm not sure. Not 100%. I don't know if she was with friends or not up there, but she had to have, because, I mean, like I said, you can't just go up there unless you know somebody, right? You have to be, I mean, you can go to the campground all you want, but to get into the actual, I don't know. I'll keep following it, but I do want to cover this too. Remember the stepmom here? We covered this a whole bunch of times. This is the Leonis Kalitis, the attorney for Kimberly Sullivan, who was accused of, holding her stepson captive for more than 2 decades, joins Banfield to explain why the alleged victim's medical records must be released, despite police saying the 32-year-old was just 68 pounds. This is this. They want to get the medical records here. Whoops. Let me share this here so everybody can see it.
Police say he saved himself by setting his own room on fire, and first responders carried him to safety. They said it wasn't that hard because he only weighed 68 pounds, their description. We've been on this story since it broke back in February, and you probably remember the victim's stepmother pleaded not guilty to kidnapping, assault, and cruelty, among other crimes. But now her attorney says news reports are one thing, but he wants to see the evidence that the state has against his client.
There's a claim that he was starved, near death. We've heard about Holocaust. I haven't seen anything to support that. So if those are the claims they're making at trial, we'd like to see it.
So what's the holdup in turning over the victim's medical records? Officials say the man has changed his name to protect his privacy. And to continue protecting his privacy, they'd need to purge his new name from all the files. The accused woman's name is Kimberly Sullivan, and Sullivan's lawyer, Yanis Kaloidis, joins me now live. Good to have you back on the show. Thanks so much for coming back, Yanis. Let me start here. The notion that you would like discovery in order to prove that.
Remember this case? The guy basically started a fire in his house so he could escape. And then she was in court. And now this guy has changed. The person who basically was being held captive has changed his name, but the defense attorney wants the medical records released.
Perhaps the reports are wrong, that this alleged victim is 68 pounds. The police, the firefighters, the victim himself all said 68 pounds. Do you think that they're lying?
Well, I don't know that they're lying, but I haven't actually seen anything to support this. And I know that everyone's talking about the 68 pounds, and I think it's something that makes a good soundbite. But as of right now, it really doesn't mean too much to me. I've seen no records to support it. I've seen no medical records. The state is going to have to do more than say he was 68 pounds. How'd he get there? Why'd he get there? And if they're going to put it on my client, there has to be some evidence of it.
So the other issue is without medical records, and understandably, that's a big piece of all of this.
I don't know. See, this case really bothers me because I don't know what they're going to get her for, right? Like, um, he was, what, 32? So he's a grown man, right? He can leave whenever the hell he wants to. And if they're going to go after anybody, they should be going after the father. I mean, he was there almost, so he got custody of him, right? The father got custody of him by the mother. The mother transferred custody over. So he's been in that house for years and years and years under the father's care. And then the father died a year before all of this stuff happened. So I don't know. Like, it's just so weird how they're charging her for it. She's the stepmom. She doesn't have any, I don't know. It's just weird.
There are police reports, there are body cam videos, and there are interviews, and they show this young man to be.
Yeah, I don't know if she had him locked in or not. I mean, there were locks on the doors, but I don't know if she put them there. So, it's just this whole weird thing. It's not like they can, I don't know, blame her for the whole thing.
Be extraordinarily thin, terribly dirty, and very unkempt. Is that not satisfactory?
Yeah, so he was dirty, he was unkept, he was thin. That doesn't mean my client committed a crime. There has to be something more.
That's what I'm saying. He's obviously underweight, but that was going on for a long time before. It's just so weird. I mean, they're charging her for it, but what did she do? I don't know if she was. I'm pretty sure she wasn't the one that put the locks on the doors.
We understand his weight was low. I recognize he hadn't showered or wouldn't clean himself. I recognize that, but that doesn't mean my client's committed an offense. So, and we have those reports, but until I see medical records, until I see anything else that really ties this together, it means really nothing.
So the issues about the medical records, the fact that this young man has changed his name, and the authorities say in order to turn over medical records to you, they need to redact, and that could take a lot of time. Is that a legitimate excuse for the delay in you getting any medical records, or do you think there's something nefarious at hand?
Well, I don't think there's anything nefarious at hand where I don't think there's anything improper going on with the delay. I'm not making any accusation of that sort. As far as the delay and the time, the reality is our courts are overworked. Most prosecutors' office, public defenders' offices, they have a large case.
I mean, this is a good question here. Where's the proof of abuse? The father was there too for a long time. So if anybody's to blame, it's him. He's the father. Of course, he's dead now. You can't, charge him, but I don't know.
Slowed. So things take a very long time. We are a little frustrated with the pace of this, but I don't believe the state's attorney's office is doing anything improper. They're trying to be cautious, which is understandable. My issue is with the redaction itself, the desire to redact the name. I don't think that's appropriate.
You want to see that name. Okay, I understand that. I have a question for you. We just saw a picture of you with your client. It's been 4 months since Kimberly Sullivan has been arrested and has been out on bond. What is life like for her right now? Is she getting out into the community? Has anything happened? What's the response been to her in her community?
Well, life's been very difficult for her.
Yeah, they went out there a couple times. Child Services went out there a couple times. It's a whole laundry list of incidents where people could have done something and they didn't. He wasn't in school for a long period of time. So, it's been, this whole thing was going on way before she entered the picture. She was just living there, right? So I don't know. This case, in my opinion, should probably be just thrown out. I don't know what she did, but
her because her face has been published all over the place. She's under a great deal of scrutiny. She does not spend a lot of time in the Waterbury area for her own safety and for her own privacy. It's been extremely stressful on her.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and
I mean, when I first heard of this case, I'm like, yeah, she's definitely a creeper, but I didn't know that the father was there for that long. He had custody of the kid when he was a kid, but now Dirty Diana's here. I would like to know if he got yeah, well, maybe that could be true too. I would like to know if he got a Social Security disability or check that she wanted. It could be that's a good point. That's definitely a good point right there. We'll know at some point. I don't know how she's just a stepmom though, so technically she has no. I could see if he was a kid, but he was 32 years old, so technically she has no right to that. I don't know, unless he's got a disability or something, or I don't know. Even then. All right, so we'll get out of that. I do want to go to this here. This is kind of part of the missing. I don't know if you guys remember this case here. There's going to be a couple cases tonight that I cover that I don't know if you guys have ever heard about, but I pulled this guy up here. This is hold on a second here. This is the disappearance of Garrett Bardsley. Let's go here. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let's go. So this happened a long time ago. We'll read a little bit of this here. So Garrett Alexander Bardsley, born July 24th, 1992, is an American boy who disappeared on August 20th, 2004 during a camping trip with his father and fellow Boy Scouts near Kuberent Lake in Unida. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Mountains in Utah. Despite an extensive search operation involving hundreds of volunteers, dogs, and aerial support, Garrett was never found and his case remains unsolved. So this was a Boy Scout trip, I guess, into these mountains here in Utah. And let's see, on the morning of August 20th, 2004, Garrett was fishing with his father near the edge of an unnamed lake in the Kuberent Lakes Basin when he accidentally got his shoes and socks wet. He reportedly left the group to walk a short distance of approximately 150 yards back to the family's campsite to change into dry. So he went back to the campsite to change his socks. It was around 8 a.m. and visibly was clear. His father watched him for part of the walk, but briefly turned his attention to the lake. And when he looked back, Garrett was gone. Initial attempts to locate Garrett by family and nearby campers were unsuccessful. There were no signs of struggle or injury, and the area had minimal undergrowth, making it difficult to understand how he simply vanished. Okay, so let's go. Bear, maybe? You think Bear? You remember this one? Good to see Diana in here. You must be exhausted. She's been doing a lot of lives with Chuck Manson. Both good channels. Dirty Diana's got a great channel. Your partner is going rogue. Take his wrench. Honestly, though, Diana's awesome. She's got a great channel. She must be tired. Must be exhausted. Chuck Norris. Charlie Manson.
This country up here is some of the most rugged in the continental United States. This is the top of the.
So this was done 6 days ago on August 20, 2004. We've read that already. And after nearly 10-day search for the boy, search and rescue crews ended their search without finding him. Why only 10 days? That's weird. All right, so here we go. Apparently there's been a lot of disappearances in this area here, but this is literally no man's land here. There's nobody's here. There's nothing here. Just woods and mountains and a lot of wildlife. So, I mean, it's possible that he was, this kid here was, I don't know.
The world, and it's like the surface of the moon up there in some locations.
It's a rough area to search, but crews have been combing the mountains near Mirror Lake in Summit County. They're using dog teams, ground crews, a chopper, and 135 volunteers. Nearly 200 searchers are braving the elements, rain, hail, and falling temperatures.
It's got to be rain gear. Slicker. Well, it's a steep walk up, I'll tell you.
Crews are searching approximately 4 square miles around Bardsley's campsite, and police say it doesn't appear that he ever made it back to camp.
It really is shocking, the amount of area that we're talking about and the search area that we've got 180 people. But when you're talking about a type of area that size, it's just amazing, really.
It's a lot of area to cover. There's a lot of people out here, but God willing, a lot of prayers, we'll find them.
Police say they haven't found anything of the boys, no clothing, food, or footprints that they can trace back to him. Bardley's father has been out looking for him, while his mother, who was on a cruise, is now making her way back to Utah.
You know, the family obviously devastated. They're out there looking, doing everything that they can.
It's frightening. It really is. Being lost out here at 12 years old, I can imagine what's going on. And just, I guess generally all we can ask is everybody, please just pray for this boy. Let's get him home safe. It's rough and scary out here.
You know, last night it got...
Okay, so let's do this here. You making pierogies? Pierogies are awesome. Let's do this here. Poop in the lake like a normal... What am I doing? Hold on a second. Share screen. Okay, so this is it here. This is the United Mountains. So there's nothing here. There's nothing at all. Peaceful place. Anything. Let's play this. Has no sound. This is nobody's here. There's nothing here. There's a road there. Look at this. This is beautiful. I'd like to know exactly where. Let's get out of this here.
Down to mid 30s. It's probably going to get down that cold again tonight.
If it's,
damn it,
it's rough and scary out here.
So Holiday Park, Meadow Lake, Kuberant Lake.
You know, last night it got down to mid 30s. It's probably going to get down that cold again tonight.
Search and rescue teams from all over the valley joined volunteers to help look for 12-year-old Garrett Bardsley.
These two gentlemen will be your team leaders. Basically, you guys just divide up into teams of 5 each.
The groups took flyers with Garrett's picture to hand out to anyone camping or hiking in the area. They also posted his...
So obviously this is a very old video here. But this is the recap of it, pretty much. That looks like my dog right there.
Picture at trailheads.
We're hopeful. We remain, cautiously optimistic, but as time goes on, it becomes less and less likely, unfortunately.
The first 2 days, search teams looked for Garrett as if he could respond and yell back. But by this third day, after rain, hail, and cold temperatures, they believe he may not be able to respond. So they're looking for his clothing or some sign he was in the area.
We look under rocks, we look under, logs, we look anywhere somebody might want to take some shelter.
The fishing pole he had was a clear white, and it had a black handle and a black reel, and they have not found that either.
Peggy O is here. Good to see Peggy O. Thank you for coming in, Peggy O. We're just going over this missing case here from 1992 regarding Garrett Bardsley here.
At least a dozen horses scoured the trails and mountain. Some riders brought water and food to the groups to keep them going.
Well, we're just going to be going in and out all day long, taking more and more.
Rescue dogs were also brought in, and an air search included helicopters and a Wasatch County search and rescue plane. Summit County Sheriff Dave Edmonds says children who get lost in the mountains are usually found within 2 miles.
So this is Scout Lake here. I mean, could be anywhere. This sounds to me like some sort of a wild animal type thing here, but you never know.
Miles of their last known location. You can see from this map that area has been saturated, but the volunteers are not giving up.
We're going to continue to search until we find something. We have an obligation to the family. And
are there mountain lions in Utah? There's got to be. That horse scared me. Sorry. Good to see Peggy Owen here, though. Dino speaks horse.
This child out there, and we're going to do everything in our power to bring him home.
Tired and weary after searching for him almost nonstop since Friday, the family of 12-year-old Garrett Bardsley concedes it's unlikely he'll ever be coming home.
This is a great loss for our family right now, but we haven't lost hope yet.
Garrett's family.
So there's mammals like mule, deer, elk, moose, mountain goats, bighorn sheep, as well as predators. So there are mountain lions there, bobcats and coyotes. It's got to be bear. There has to be bear up there. But bear make a lot of noise. So bobcats, coyotes. Nothing about bear.
Came to thank the search and rescue teams along with the hundreds of volunteers who've been looking for him.
We have never felt such an outpouring of love from our friends, family, people we don't even know who have come up and looked for Garrett with us.
The question many of us are asking is, how could Garrett get lost? He was only walking from where his group was fishing back to their campsite, which is a very short distance.
About 250 or 300 yards, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you come up in this thick wooded area, it can be a long ways, particularly for a 12-year-old boy.
Searchers fear that Garrett panicked when he
Yeah, this is terrible. 2004. It seems like just yesterday.
Discovered he was lost or possibly may have fallen and become injured. Still, searchers believe they've sent.
When somebody becomes injured, don't they scream? Or, I mean, it's just people are, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
Curated the likely areas he could have gone, but have found nothing. And despite 4 very discouraging days, Garrett's family remains committed to keep looking.
We haven't given up hope. We don't want to leave Garrett here on this mountain. We want to bring him.
With fresh snow on the nearby mountain peaks, searchers bundled up this morning as they headed out for another day of looking for 12-year-old Garrett Bardsley.
We are now focused on some really steep, rocky, hazardous terrain.
Search teams believe they have scoured the obvious areas Garrett may have gone.
So, hold on a second. Theories: investigators initially believe that Garrett may have become disoriented and succumbed to the elements, possibly falling into a crevice or becoming hidden in underbrush. However, the complete absence of physical evidence has led to speculation about other possible explanations, including animal predation and or abduction. Yeah, this animal predation is definitely possible, especially like a mountain lion, because, I mean, you know, they could do a lot of damage and not cause a lot of noise.
Gone, and with new information from his family, searchers are looking in areas that could have provided him some shelter.
There's some reason to believe, after talking to Mom, that he may have sheltered in maybe, some type of shelter. He kind of went to a class with the scouts and really grasped onto the concept of getting into some shelter if bad weather occurred.
Authorities also admit it's possible that Garrett...
What was the goal? Like I said, I got Heather's GoFundMe account scrolling across the bottom here. She's not feeling all that great, so Christina Formella tomorrow. Formella. The co-host. Why do people not like Charles? It's so funny. Oh.
could have wandered miles.
Where is Chuck?
And miles away.
Is Chuck sleeping too? Dino's awesome. Yep, Dino and Heather, both awesome.
From his camp within the first few hours after he became lost. Helicopters are flying searchers into some of the remote areas to keep them from using their energy just to get to the search area. And the huge response from volunteer searchers prompted Garrett's family yesterday to say thanks.
We have never felt such an outpouring of love from our friends, family, people we don't even know who have come up and looked for Garrett with us.
And the sheriff plans to keep searching for Garrett through the weekend if necessary.
Up until that point, we'll go as far and as hard as we can. And then after that, we'll have a continuous limited search. And we'll never stop looking until we make a find of some kind.
Search teams today are focusing on this boulder field, less than a mile away from where 12-year-old Garrett Bardsley disappeared. And as you can see from Chopper 5, it's very tough terrain for searchers. They are scouring this area after Garrett's mother confirmed a sock found by searchers is his.
It's a Nike anklet sock with the black swoosh on the back.
The sheriff says it would seem logical that Garrett may have taken off his sock since he got his feet wet, and that was the reason he was walking back to camp before he became lost.
We believe it's very possible that he might have sought shelter in that boulder field and crawled up under one of the big rocks or into a crevasse.
While trained searchers are the only ones looking in this area today, Roger and Jim Heath decided to hike where Garrett disappeared just in case they found something new.
I could see where it had to be real easy, especially for a 12-year-old to get lost up here. So I'm back by the...
Dee Dee's awesome. Dee Dee's amazing. It's been a really weird week for me. I haven't been able to get on a lot of lives this week. I did enjoy a live with Amy. She did her take on Delphi. I think it was yesterday. She's awesome too. Who unsubscribed to Dee Dee's channel? Dee Dee's awesome. Was it Amy? What's her name? Amy. She's I think she's British with Australian, but she did a great live on I think it was yesterday morning. Caught the whole thing, most of it anyways.
The lake where they were supposedly fishing at, and just between there and the other lake, the Coumarin Lake, which isn't that far away, we got turned around. We actually looked at our GPS, and that told us we were walking in the opposite direction where we should have been going.
I couldn't do it with...
Puck Elf is here. Good to see Puck Elf. Charles took my wrench and banned me for life. Mushroom Killer. What's her name? Amy G? Is it Amy G? Could be.
Without them, it's been amazing, the support that we've gotten from the community. People I don't even know. There's tons of people that I've never seen before that are up here searching for Garrett.
I mean, what is the what is the likelihood that somebody is up there in those mountains, right? And it's just grabbing people. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But part about him wanting your nudes from the shower and all of that was appropriate and rude. Well, Pretty sure nobody wants my news.
We just don't want to leave him up on the mountain. We want to bring him home.
This must be the dad.
A family's desperate search.
So Garrett A. Bardsley, age 12, he'd be, can't do the math, 5 feet, 115 pounds. I can't see the rest of that. 33?
For their 12-year-old son drew more than 500 people to the Uinta Mountains this morning, many of them strangers who felt compelled to help.
In Utah, there's a lot of people that, and probably other states too, that care about youngsters and care about people's families, and it's a real sad situation.
This is day 9 of the search for Garrett Bardsley. Members of his family's ward and stake have participated in the search since Garrett disappeared. The family organized today's effort as the community's response grew. Teams are focusing on the least covered areas.
We still don't want to quit. We haven't found him, but we're spreading out now.
At the same time, hundreds.
Are we talking about feet again? Are we talking about feet? Nude feet? Is that what we're talking about? Dirty Guys sending out nudes again. Nude feet? Really? We've talked about this.
Of trained searchers from multiple agencies are also scouring the steep terrain, going over some areas they've searched before. Searchers say
we've had discussions on this whole nude feet thing. It's like pineapples on pizza, right? Like, what are they going to do? They're going to Dave hates feet. We've talked about this. We have talked about this. You said Dino and I got the pictures. Just way to ruin a pizza, right? Just put some fucking pineapple on it.
Gets more emotional every day. They say it's hard not to think of their own.
I have a daughter, and you go home at night and you're just kind of like, wow.
You wonder with these search teams, though, right? Like, Dave loves inches. Hates feet? I can think of other things besides feet. Pineapple is for the door. On the door, Shippy said. All right, let's do it. We love Miranda here.
I don't know how I can handle this. And when you come out here, you have a renewed interest.
Miranda was one of my first subscribers, too. I do not like feet at all. Isn't it? I do not like ham and eggs. Dino ate feet. It's about time for Dino's phone to die. Feet have to be, I mean, feet are just, I don't know, for walking.
Energy, just because you understand what the family's really feeling, and it's a little bit more heartbreaking than probably most people would realize.
Garrett's family says their faith helps them cope, and they take comfort in the overwhelming support.
Garrett, in a lot of ways, has touched a lot of people's lives. And that's what makes it a lot easier to deal with this.
We think he would have probably found shelter down lower.
Searchers map out their strategy on the last official.
No, it's skates. Skates are made for walking, buddy. Remember that. You're in Canada. Skates. Nobody wears boots in Canada. It's all skates. I was here by myself in chat sometimes with Honeybee. Yes, Honeybee's awesome too. Honeybee is, I hope she's well. I haven't seen her for a while. Yeah, like a pineapple and a welcome sign. Snowshoes too. Snowshoes. Yeah, I can forget about that. It can't be snowing there now though.
Day of searching for 12-year-old Garrett Bardsley, who has been missing for 10 days.
It's difficult to say where he's at. At this point, we don't know if he just made a beeline somewhere and is outside the search area, or if he took shelter somewhere and then actually froze. We just don't know what happened at this point, and it's a little bit perplexing, but we do believe that he's out there.
The last 10 days has been physically and emotionally exhausting for search and rescue teams, along with family members and friends who have tried their best to find Garrett.
Very, very frustrating. Why? Because we can't find him. That's our number one goal, and we can't find him.
The thought of losing a child in the wilderness and then having to leave them behind is bringing out many people today who are here searching for the first time.
What better way to give service than to help somebody find someone that's, the most important part of your life, member of your family.
And after
this kind of reminds me of the Trenny Gibson case. She was just there 1 minute, and then she was gone. But I'd like to know exactly where this kid went missing, the exact trail.
After 10 days of searching with resources from airplanes to helicopters to search dogs and hundreds of volunteers, authorities believe they have tried to do everything they could to find Garrett.
We will continue to come up here and search, even if we don't find anything today. We will continue to come up in the mountains and do whatever we can to return Garrett to his family.
Even though Kevin and Heidi Bardsley are devastated with the loss of their 12-year-old son Garrett and had to return home when the official search was called off, they plan to keep looking.
We want to find him wherever.
These poor freaking people. They have a hold on a second. They have a let me just read this. They have aftermath. They've Garrett's disappearance deeply impacted his family and the broader Utah community. His father, Kevin Bardsley, later founded the Garrett Bardsley Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing persons. They need to, when they have these disappearances like that, they need to contact a either a falcon or bird falconry place, because they can literally strap a camera to either a hawk or a falcon. They have hawk handlers that can do that, and you never know, that might help.
For whatever condition he's in, we want to bring him home.
So we're not giving up, and we hope no one else will give up until he's found, so we can put closure to this.
The Bardsleys have been home for the last 3 days, trying to regain their strength from a grueling 10 days of searching themselves and watching as hundreds of volunteers looked for their son but found nothing.
And then when the afternoon rolls around and they're coming in, that was the hard part. And you had to go to bed at night. And that was the
Oh my God, this has got to suck.
hard part.
But it was the incredible response from friends and total strangers that the Bardsleys credit with helping them to go another day.
I don't even know these people. But it's mankind and humanity that you look at, you see this, and this, it gives you hope. It gives you the will.
Is that the mom? That's got to be the mom.
To go on.
And the Bardsleys say from that strength, they will keep looking for as long as it takes to bring Garrett home.
It sucks. So I just wanted to bring that up. I saw that today in my feed. Born July 24th, 1992, Utah, USA. Disappeared August 20th, 2004, age 12. Cormorant Lake, Utah. They're not giving an exact location, though. Missing for 20 years, 10 months, and 18 days. He went to Spanish Fork Middle School. Deborah Bardsley, Kevin Bardsley, father and mother. So I'll try to keep an eye on that, but there's very little information going on in this. It's been a while. It's been almost 21 years. So it sucks. All right. So look at that kid. It sucks. Terrible. But this is there's a lot of disappearances up here in these mountains. So My opinion is he probably either got taken by a wild animal or foul play. That's my hope they find something. Hope somebody does something. All right, so let's go on to this douchebag. This is the everybody's been covering this lately now too. Yeah, that does suck for sure. This is interesting because I saw this the other day. This is the Mickey Steins thing. Everybody's been covering this now too. The behavior of former Sheriff Mickey Steins. He's the guy that's accused of well, it's not accused of it. Everybody saw it. The judge up there in Kentucky. And I think this is the one I wanted to play. No, it's this one right here. What? Hold on a second. Let me back this up here. This is really. I did notice one thing about this video that I did not notice the first few times I watched it, but we'll play it when we get there. So this is the case of Judge Kevin Mullins, who was gunned down in his office. Strange how they can smoke there, though. It's weird. All right, so let's play this here. Everybody know about this case?
And the subject of my investigation is the shocking killing of Kentucky Judge Kevin Mullins in his own chambers by the sheriff, Mickey Steins. A shooting caught 100% on video. Here's the story. On September 19th, 2020.
Tracy's awesome too. This is a quad axle Mimi, who is, I think, Tracy. Amazing person. She knows a lot. She's very good with this true crime stuff. She needs her own channel. When the boss smokes, who cares? Like you couldn't. I mean, these woods here, you can't smoke anywhere. So it's amazing to me that these people were just smoking in a public building. But anyways, that's just rant there. Good for them.
In the hushed atmosphere of Kentucky's Letcher County Courthouse, Sheriff Mickey Steins transformed from respected lawman to infamous killer, calmly entering Judge Kevin Mullins' chambers.
I did tell you, though, that they're going to try the crazy defense here, like he was. But there's nothing in this video that shows me that this guy was crazy at the time he did this. Nothing. But they're going to try it.
Steins unleashed a barrage of shots, fatally striking.
This is probably going to be triggering, just to let you guys know. But somebody's pointing a gun at me like this. I'm trying to get out of the room. I'm not trying to hide underneath a desk like this. That's not happening.
The jurist at point blank range. Surveillance footage shows a chilling calm before the storm. Steins ushering others out, closing the door, then executing his friend.
So, hold on.
In the aftermath,
So, before he did this, you're going to notice that he goes back to the door and he locks it, because that's one of those doors where you just push it's a handle and the button on the inside, so you just push that button and lock it. I didn't notice that before.
Body cam footage captured Steins trembling and begging officers, quote, "Don't kill me. Be fair to me." His defense team responded swiftly, filing motions to dismiss the indictment, alleging grand jury secrecy violations and announcing plans for an insanity plea, citing extreme emotional disturbance and a recent harrowing deposition in a courthouse sexual abuse lawsuit. Now jailed without bond, Steins' trial will hinge on whether his actions were a calculated act of murder or the result of a fractured mind pushed beyond its limits. It's always been about the why in this case because everything's been captured on video, including the alleged crime itself.
Karen Lee's here? Where's Karen? Hey, Karen, how are you? Good to see you. I've been trying to get over there. Every time I go over there, it's just ending. So I've been trying to get over there, and I think I was over there a couple nights ago, though. Um, the Manimal Reacts channel. Manimal's awesome. I saw Paula in it, though, so that's good. Insane? You think Insane? That's going to be his defense, though. I can guarantee you that much. But if you watch the video, it doesn't look like he's insane.
Shooting of Judge Kevin Mullins by the sheriff. It lasts like 29 seconds.
He knew exactly what he was doing. That's just my opinion.
Going to show it to you in just a second. I'm going to warn you ahead of time, but we do stop the video at the moments when the gun is fired. So you won't see that, and you won't see the aftermath of it. But let's take a look one more time, because of what had been happening in that courthouse, there's a camera in the judge's chambers. Now, there was no audio for this video that was released, and there's just no microphones. It's a simple surveillance camera, but you can see the judge ducking and trying desperately to get out of harm's way. And the sheriff continues to pursue him. You see the sheriff there, the judge moving the desk. And then just before he's about to leave, more shots fired by the
This was personal here. You don't shoot somebody that many times if it's not personal. That's just my opinion. This looks very personal to me.
Sheriff, and perhaps if he had just left at that moment, maybe Judge Mullins would have survived. Now, when this video was released, we had some questions because there was no audio, so you couldn't hear, what was being said in the moment. And we also didn't know about the lead up to this. And now we've got new video. And that brings us to the first question in our investigation.
Yeah, you just don't see this every day, right? I just can't get over this guy smoking and drinking coffee. I mean, drinking coffee's fine, but in public places around here, there's no. I look for places to smoke, but he looks relaxed. I mean, this whole thing, he looks relaxed here. You'll see. They got two people on here.
And it's about the new video. What happened in the 13 minutes before the shooting? To me, these are the critical 13 minutes. Again, it's video without audio. Here to help us go through all this and answer the question, Elizabeth Jones, host of Hillbilly Crime on YouTube.
I think so. I definitely think so. I may be wrong though. Who knows? But they're definitely. I said that when this story came out, they're gonna definitely try the insanity defense.
Has been covering this story in depth. And also, we're getting help tonight from behavioral and social scientist, Dr. Abby Morono. Dr. Morono, thank you so much for being here as well. So this is the way I want to do this, because there is no audio. We are just going to press play in a second, show the video, and we're going to watch it together. The three of us and the folks at home, and make any observations. If I'm talking and you see something, just jump in with it, please.
It's good to see everybody here in the chat, though. It's good to see Karen Lee. Good to see Luis Cuevas. It's always good to see Tracy in here. Dino, everybody. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
So without further ado, let's put it in. This is the 13 minutes beforehand.
So he comes in and he tells all of these people to get out. That's what he's doing here. And the whole time, the judge doesn't, I mean, you'll see it for yourself, but the judge doesn't, nobody, either the judge or this guy here, Steins, they don't look like they're nervous about anything. It's so weird. But he comes in and tells everybody to get out.
So Elizabeth, as we begin here, at this moment of time, this is after lunch when all this is happening. And the first thing we see when the sheriff comes in is that he's clearing everyone out of the room.
Yeah, he does.
It's just like he's smoking away, no care, nothing's going on. Like, he sits down in a chair, all of these people leave. I would have thought that would be a little bit suspect to me, but it doesn't look like the judge cares at all. I mean, they were friends, right? They had just had a lunch or whatever, but this would have been some sort of a red flag to me, man.
They said that he's kind of acting aggressive when he says that he needs to talk to the judge alone.
Dr. Morono, do you seeing anything from the body language, the way the sheriff got the other folks out of the room, the way he's posturing himself in his chair?
Well, there's a couple things. Well, first, he's calm and composed. His body posture is open and expansive. He's taking up a lot.
See, I understand that whole thing, but everybody in this room right now looks very calm. There's no such thing as like tension. Of course, we can't hear what anybody. They should get a lip reader in here to see what he's saying, because you don't know what he's saying. But lip readers can pretty much figure out what he's saying. But nothing looks like it's like a dire situation here throughout this whole thing until he actually pulls the pew and starts shooting.
A lot of space. He doesn't show any self-soothing behaviors like rubbing his hands or fidgeting, which are commonly seen when someone is experiencing heightened tension. Now, when I originally saw this video, I did have a look at his posture and his seating position and say, okay, that's...
So it's almost 3 o'clock here. It's 2:45. So
possibly a dominance display. But reviewing some of the other footage, it looks like he commonly sits like that. So I think that's his baseline. But what's more interesting to me is actually what I'm not seeing. So they're pushing for the insanity defense, but there are certain behaviors that you would expect to see if someone is in a state of, here we can say, paranoia. And one of the main things you would expect to see is hypervigilance. So excessive scanning of the environment, frequent checking behind them, standing.
See, to me, it looks like they're just having a conversation, right? Like, he's smoking the cigarette. He's not like, to me, it doesn't look like he's nervous at all. That's just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe.
With the back to the wall, those kind of guarding movements. Now, when he shooed everyone out of the room, if you watch the way he allows everyone to move around him, he's letting people walk behind him, to the side of him, and he's not showing any cues of discomfort. This isn't expected from someone in a state of paranoia. There's also no erratic or avoidant body language. There's no changes in direction.
I literally think that this judge was a piece of dog shit. But this conversation to me looks pretty... even the sheriff here, he looks like he's just talking.
He's very calm. He's got neutral affect. He's got neutral gait. He seems very goal-directed. He's moving efficiently. He clearly retrieves his weapon later on, too. So the body language that I'm seeing here isn't necessarily consistent with what I would expect to see for someone in going for an insanity defense.
Fascinating. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, as we watch the judge, oh, wait, he's getting up right now. Let's see what happens here. This is an interesting...
Yeah, see, this is to me, this opening the door, what he's doing, he's opening the door to see if anybody's behind the door. This looks premeditated to me. Like the sheriff is definitely in here to cause pain, right? But I don't think the judge feels this at this point, because he's opening the door to see if he got rid of these people. He wants to make sure that they're gone. Now, the other person who's going to talk here kind of explains the whole room, and because he comes to this, there's a door over here too. You'll see here. I don't know whose backpack this is.
Interesting moment. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Everything that she just said just now, or your other guest, he does those things. But he just wasn't doing it when she was talking about it. We see him go from the front door there to the back.
You think so? Why did he just if the judge felt like that, why did he just let this guy kick everybody out of his office? It's so weird.
And he checks both of those doors to see if there's anybody out there listening to their conversation, I think is why he's doing that. And we see him start rubbing his hands. So everything she said.
Those on guarding displays, Those aren't necessarily guarding displays, they're checking displays. A guarding display is when other people are present. And when other people are present, typically that's when people are the most defensive. And that's what I'm not seeing.
What'd you think, Doctor, of him going to the door, opening it, taking a peek out, and then sitting back down?
Often when we have a pre-violence check, so when someone is about to commit a violent act, you see these moments of kind of cognitive overload and a decision moment. And to me, those are checking moments. So he has a plan in mind potentially, and then you check whether is this the time to move forward with my plans. That can be a checking moment. Now, like I said, there are behaviors that I would expect to see that I'm just not seeing. The rubbing of the hands. Now, I don't necessarily think that's a self-soothing because I'm not seeing other clusters of behaviors. So just seeing one behavior.
This phone is important too. The phone is facing down, right? So
doesn't mean that it's necessarily a self-soothing display. It could just be a baseline. It could just be a comfort display. It's looking for clusters and looking for sequences. So what I would expect to see is one. So
see this door handle here? These are one of those door handles. The lock is right there. So you push that button in and it locks the door. Just before he ends up unaliving this guy, he comes over and locks this door. I didn't notice that the first time.
Self-soothing behavior translate into another, or increase in intensity.
He's kind of wiggling his foot here a little. I mean, it's not much, but I'm pretty sure the sheriff knows exactly what's going to happen. This guy here doesn't.
And I'm not seeing those behaviors. Now, this doesn't mean that he isn't suffering from paranoia or is in a state of insanity. It just means that it's not typically what I would expect, the nonverbal signs of hypervigilance and
yeah, sorry, John. Yeah, we're going over, we just covered the disappearance of Garrett Bardsley, and now we're covering this. This just came out a couple days ago. And this is the entire 13 minutes of this judge here getting unalived by the sheriff here, Steins. This came out, when did this came out? July 11th. Today's the 13th, 2 days ago.
Guardedness and not present. And again, that guardedness is different to the checking behaviors.
Now, the other thing is,
I don't know whose backpack this is or whose backpack this is. Must be the people who were in there, or else.
The conversation is continuing throughout all of this, Elizabeth, because we can see the judge speaking, the judge
drinking coffee. I mean, to me, there's nothing telling me that this guy's nervous too much.
Still at this moment looks relatively composed and calm. He's got his cigarette, he's got his coffee, and he's continuing to talk. Obviously, it would be fascinating to understand what they are exactly talking about in those moments. But the bottom line, at this point, everything still seems relatively calm.
Well, something that I kind of noticed here is that Mickey, whenever we hear all of his paranoid talk, like after the shooting takes place, it made me wonder how much of that he was doing before the shooting happened. So
you watch, he gets up now. He checked this door here. Now he gets up. He's kind of hearing what he wants to hear to get this done. So now he's going to go over and check this door to make sure there's nobody on the other side of this door. And the person that's talking now with the wonderful Kentucky accent is going to explain this whole room setup here.
One of the things that we hear the witnesses say, all of them said the same thing, that he...
Because he went to there's another door here.
Just acted odd.
Yeah, well, he just got up. He's disappeared out of the sight of the camera. I've never been in there. Do you know what is in the area where he is now, Elizabeth? Are you familiar?
Yeah.
What's back there?
I am. So that's an office. That's the front of...
You okay, Dee Dee? Welcome back. Judge's face is red.
of the office.
See, he's definitely looking to see if anybody's outside this doorway or in this whatever's out here. But she's describing this whole. This is kind of like an intermediate office here, and then there's another office back here, and then this is obviously the outside here of the room.
When you go into the courthouse, you turn down a hallway and you go into the office. So that would be where his secretary would sit.
Okay.
And then there's a door there to the right, and that's the one that Mickey just went to. So he has went to that, that door, and then he goes to this back one. And then the smoking room is right back on the back side of this judge's chambers. It's there's three.
So this is the judge's chambers here, right? That's leads down to the court rooms. And this back room here is some sort of a smoking room in here. So he got up, went to this door to check to see if anybody was in there. So he's got it in. The sheriff has it in his mind that this guy is going to go away, right? Like this is all premeditated here. He's, then you'll see the phone things here.
Rooms just back to back to back.
Okay, but although they do smoke in the chambers also, we've seen folks smoking. So
Yep.
I guess that's an additional smoking room. Doctor, what did you think of that little moment when he went to the back and then went back to the front and kept that door open for a little bit?
Well, it's difficult to say without seeing what he was doing, but it looked like conversation happening when he was opening the door. So it's possible he was talking about moving locations, but the judge didn't seem to be responsive. He didn't seem to be fazed. So my guess would be that the conversation was very calm. There didn't seem to be any aggression. And here what's interesting is we have what's called excitation transfer and emotional contagion, where if one person starts to become aggressive behavior, and here you just don't see any defense really in the judge.
He's leaning in for the first time now, though. He's leaning in on the desk. It looks like the nature of the conversation is changing as he physically gets closer to the judge here.
Yeah, usually we lean in.
I bet you if they had a lip reader to come in, they could probably figure out what the judge is saying, right?
With more positive, but it looks like here there is an increase in intensity because you can see.
My aunt was, she was hearing impaired, however you want to say it these days. And she could read lips like nobody. I mean, she was really good at it.
The judge looks a little bit tense for the first time. This is the first time you're kind of seeing him less calm, but he quickly retreats, and there doesn't seem to be a large increase of emotional intensity, so it still looks relatively calm.
Go ahead, Elizabeth. And it looks like the sheriff has just picked up his phone.
Well, one of the things that I was going to mention was at the very beginning of this video here, when he comes in with the preacher man, looked to me like there was some tension between Mickey, the sheriff, and the preacher man who he came in with. And it also looked to me like Judge Mullins was kind of smirking a little bit. And that was kind of what I meant earlier when I said, I wonder if Mickey was talking this way earlier in the day, because it seemed to me like they were just kind of rolling their eyes at him, and it just.
That freaking Kentucky accent gets to me all the time, man. I feel the tension up here in Canada.
Just made me wonder if Mickey came in there talking kind of crazy talking, paranoid, and everybody was just kind of rolling their eyes like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And in the video right now, it seemed like he was making some sort of a call, put the phone back down. He's picking the phone up again. And
so I'm pretty sure that days before this incident, this guy here, the sheriff, got kicked out of his house because she's going to mention who this image is of this person he's talking to on the phone with his, and I think that's his aunt who he was staying with for a few days, because his wife kicked him out.
Appears to be perhaps trying to make another call at this moment. And I mean, he's making the call in front of the judge. The judge doesn't, again, seem concerned at all about the call. But we're getting very, very close now to the moment that he's going to shoot and kill the judge, and he's making calls. That's, to me, that's by itself is fascinating, Elizabeth.
Yeah, well, one of the things I wanted to point out too before it happens, because I'd love to get the doctor's response to it, is he stands up and he grabs his firearm, and then the judge goes to stand up, and Mickey points back down at the chair, and you can base it like in my head, I hear him saying, "Sit back down," and the judge puts his hands up, and he immediately sits right back down.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now with the phone situation, there is definitely something happening right now. And at this point, Doctor, this is a fascinating part. He has now asked for the judge's phone.
So this is the transfer of the phone, right? We've seen that. And I think what the sheriff is doing here is he's trying to see if the judge has the daughter's phone number in it. So he's going to call from his daughter's phone the judge or something like that,
Make a call. And our understanding is that he's calling his daughter. And again, this is just moments before he's about to shoot and kill the judge.
He gets an unexpected call here too.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, again, I'm not really seeing many pre-violence indicators, which would be as expected. And it all seems very cohesive, very cooperative. He hands him his possession, which, again, is very cooperative. We also have to remember that there is already a lot of tension in this workplace because of the circumstances recently with the other case.
I'm just saying, if the judge is feeling like this tension, why didn't he just get up and leave?
So there is likely to already be some tension, which could explain why there was tension when he walked in. But here, there doesn't seem to be any indication that something's going to happen. But what I did find interesting, Elizabeth, you said about when he put his hands up naturally and then...
here we go. Here we go. What are you seeing here, Doctor?
This is it, Doctor, right here.
We see here he's put his hands up in defense prior to the weapon being in view. So I think that there was some conversation that turned negative. And
now he's a little scared right here. Now watch, the sheriff now is going to lock this door.
You can see what's interesting is the judge's natural response was, although his hands were up, he's in a defensive state. So he actually goes almost into fight mode rather than flight mode. He doesn't duck down. He doesn't get smaller. His hands go up to say, you know, I'm not being a threat, but he doesn't seem to make himself any smaller.
And this is, we are extremely close to the moment, and we've reached the end of the 13 minutes prior to the shooting. The shooting takes place right there. Dr. Abby Morono, thank you so much. Your insight is absolutely amazing. We love having you on the show. We'll see you again really soon.
Did you see that, though? He actually locks the door. I didn't see that the first time, but he grabs the gun in his pew in his right hand, and then he locks the door with the left arm. So that's definite. I didn't see that before.
Elizabeth Jones is going to stick around. Coming up next, when he picked up his phone, who was he talking to?
Matriarch of the Adelson family gets arrested.
On Court TV.
Listen off. Like, what do you want to say? This, I don't know. This thing's too rapid. There's a long line. He wasn't present.
it seems most people are very consistent in their observations of Sheriff Mickey Steins before the shooting. He seemed off. He didn't seem like himself. They know the sheriff. They know the way he normally acts, and he wasn't acting that way. Now, there was a moment in those 13 minutes that I want to zoom in on right now, and it's when he makes his first call. And as we looked at it and zoomed in, we realized this was actually a video chat. 3 minutes and 45 seconds before the shooting, it begins. And he calls someone, and in looking at the video, you can see that there is someone else's face on the other side. It's not the sheriff looking at himself. There's actually someone on this either FaceTime or video chat. And it lasts about 20 seconds or so. But again, 3 minutes before the shooting, he is engaging in a video chat with someone, which brings us to the next question in our investigation. Who was he talking to? That person's going to know what he was saying. And again, this is just minutes before all this is happening.
Sometimes Finney cracks me up. Who the hell is he talking to?
Is what he's saying making sense? How important is all of this? Helping us with our investigation, Elizabeth Jones, and also joining us right now, trial attorney and author Jeffrey B. Simon. Let me ask you, Elizabeth, in that it looks like it's, a video chat or a FaceTime call, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. There's someone on that other side, and it seems like they're having a quick conversation. Do we know who it is?
We do. So that's his aunt. That is the aunt who he had stayed with. I think he just stayed there the night before the shooting.
Who's on first?
But that was his aunt.
Okay, so Jeffrey, let's take this now and put it into a courtroom.
So he was claiming that his wife was cheating on him, and she ended up throwing him out of the house. So he was staying with his aunt. I mean, that's what I gathered from that whole thing.
How important is that conversation? How important is the testimony and observations of the aunt, who seems to be the last person to see the sheriff or speak to the sheriff before he shoots and kills the judge?
Depends on whether you are the prosecution or the defense.
That's too funny, Aunt Mav.
He is trying to argue that he is not guilty of murder because he was in a diminished mental state, extreme emotional disturbance.
He didn't look like he was. I mean, that's just my opinion. It doesn't look like he's crazy in that. He looked like he knew exactly what he was in.
Or some form of insanity where he didn't understand the nature of his actions. If you're the prosecution, it's not terribly important to you to prove your case, to know who was on the other side of that video chat, because you have video of him killing a man by shooting him multiple times in a manner that looks very cold and very calculated, slowly standing up, removing painstakingly the gun from the holster.
To me, it looks premeditated, and it looks like very, very passionate. Like he just made sure he was not alive anymore. Like he could have just shot him a couple times and left, but 6 bullets, I think.
Pointing the gun at him, shooting him, then circling around the desk to shoot him more times, obviously to make sure he's dead. And so to the extent a picture paints 1,000 words, I think that overall video will prove to be more important probably than who he is talking to by video chat.
And how about the observations for the defense, who is trying to establish his state of mind? This is an aunt, and as Elizabeth told us, this is the aunt whose home he stayed at the night before and would have observed what his demeanor was like at that moment. And obviously she knows the way he normally is.
That's right. And the thesis, I think we understand from the outside looking in, is that from the defense standpoint, is that he believed that the judge was involved in some sort of plot to kidnap his daughter and his wife, and or that the judge was in an inappropriate relationship with his teenage daughter. And maybe the defense will be able to support that thesis through the testimony of the aunt, and that somehow the video chat in the judge's chamber is corroborative of that was his state of mind, irrespective of whether it was an accurate assessment or a delusional one.
Jeffrey B. Simon, great to have you on the program. Thanks so much. When we come back, after the FaceTime call, he makes a call to his daughter. Why is the sheriff calling his daughter?
This could have been one of those mass shooting type things too. All right, a little bit more of this, and then we'll move on to something else.
I'm Vinny Politan. We continue our investigation of the shooting and killing of Kentucky Judge Kevin Mullins by the local sheriff, Mickey Steins. The video in this case is extensive and tells almost the entire story of what happened the day Judge Mullins was killed. Here's the story.
On the morning of September 19th, 2024, the Letcher County Courthouse in Kentucky was business as usual until Sheriff Mickey Steins shattered the calm with a single unthinkable act. Just hours after having lunch with District Judge Kevin Mullins, Steins walked into the judge's chambers, ushered people out, shut the door, and opened fire after 13 minutes of sitting and talking with the judge. Mullins was shot multiple times, collapsing behind his desk. Courthouse staff fled in horror as gunfire echoed through the halls. Moments later, body cam footage captured a trembling Steins surrendering and pleading, "Don't kill me." The motive remains murky, but sources point to courthouse tensions, a civil deposition Steins had just given, and a fear that his family was in danger. The shocking betrayal rocked the tight-knit community and left behind a haunting question. What pushed a man sworn to protect the law to execute a judge in his own chambers in front of a camera?
He opens the door, and then pew-pews him again. Like, he wanted this guy dead. Like, this is
We've been trying to peel back the layers of this story now for months, and I think we're getting closer. I mentioned there a murky motive. And again, that's what this case is all about. Like, what is driving him to do this on camera? Like, there's a surveillance camera there recording all of this, everything that is happening. He's not trying to hide it, and then surrenders himself immediately afterwards. Well, at one of the initial hearings in the case, Detective Clayton Stamper from the Kentucky State Police testified about some of the things that the sheriff said afterwards, after he surrendered himself. Take a listen.
I wasn't present, but when he was taken into custody, I was told by one of the other officers that were there that he made the comment, "They're trying to kidnap my wife and kid." I was told that Sheriff Steins had tried to call his daughter, and he had tried to call his daughter from the judge's phone also.
And we saw that in the 13-minute video where he makes a call from his phone, then gets the judge to hand him his phone, and then he makes another call, which brings us to the next question in our investigation. Why is the sheriff calling his daughter? Again, this is just moments before the shooting. Why? Here to help answer that question.
This is so freaking strange. This is such a strange... Wow, yeah.
Elizabeth Jones, also joining us, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert witness, author, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Great to have you both here. Let's roll the video so we can take a look at this moment because it's significant. This is after the FaceTime. Now he's got his phone first and tries to call his daughter. Then he gets the phone from the judge, and the judge just hands him his phone, and then he opens it up. He's got to get, I guess, the code to open it up. He apparently does that, or is attempting to do that, and now has to call his daughter, and I guess he's got her number in his phone. So like all of us, we don't have anyone's phone number memorized anymore because we just press one button. So he's copying the number and now calling his daughter. As we continue to watch this, Elizabeth, we don't believe that he made contact, do we? Because he does hold the phone up to his ear. Do we know if he made contact?
I don't know if he made contact with his daughter or not. The only one that I know that he talked to was his aunt. But, you know, watching this video, it looks like he's talking to somebody unless he's talking to the judge.
Right, right. So in light of everything that we're learning here, the concern about the kidnapping, and then this is just moments before the shooting, Dr. Carol Lieberman, why do you believe he would be calling his daughter from his phone and then from the judge's phone?
Well, you know, first of all, nobody really wants to say because you don't want to say something bad about the dead, and you don't want to. The judge could have been doing something inappropriate with the sheriff's daughter. But in that video that you played,
there's Skits. Skits is in here. Skits is awesome. She's got a great channel. She does great work. I'm glad she's back. Enjoy her channel a lot. Let me know if you want a wrench, Skits. I'm okay. Back is better, but now my shoulder is killing me. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, Skits is awesome. Yes, it's been a minute. I hope you're doing okay. Let me know if you want a wrench. That way you can throw your channel in here. Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate it.
if you go on a little further, the attorney who was asking the question said, do you intend to obtain records?
Big fan of Skits here. Okay, give me thank you, Heather. Thank you so much, Heather, for doing that. Give me a couple seconds. I'll give you a wrench.
From the daughter's cell phone. And Clayton said, possibly, yes. And then the attorney said, could, and he said, could be. He said, did you intend to, or did you just respond to my question? So in other words, and so then Clayton says, should be on the judge's phone too. She's statements of what occurred during those conversations. So it's interesting that an investigator for this case wasn't planning necessarily to look at the daughter's phone or to investigate what those calls were all about. So there's some mystery about that.
Okay, so Puck Elf wants a wrench too. If anybody else, let me know. That should have worked. Skits. Skits is amazing. All right, so give me 2 seconds. I'll take care of that.
In addition to that, what else could he? So he could be calling his daughter to find out, to ask her about if there's anything that happened with the judge. Clearly what set him off was his deposition, because he was being sued because one of his deputies was involved in a sextortion plot where the events were happening in the judge's office. So, and he had a panic attack during the deposition, and it was after that he wasn't sleeping. And so he went into this panic and also was worried about whether his wife and daughter were going to be kidnapped. I mean, there were a lot of things going on. One thing I can tell you for sure.
So you're going to notice here that almost everybody has a wrench. That's so funny. And Southern Gal gets on me for throwing wrenches around. So Duck. But one of the reasons why I do that is because there's a lot of great creators in here. There's Skits. Skits is a great creator. Let's see. Southern Gal's in here somewhere. We have, anyways, bottom line is, if you have a channel, I have zero problem promoting channels in here, especially if you don't mind it. So that's why I give people the wrench. So if you have a channel, feel free to throw it in. I don't think you can put your channel in here if you don't have a wrench. So that's why I do it. So there you go. You're welcome.
I watched 2 hours of the sheriff from the time that he
And
was.
one of the only reasons why I do that, because it'll take forever for me to find your channel and post it in here. So thank you, Heather. Heather's amazing. Dirty Diana's in here. She's got a great channel. I know that Mino, not Mino, but who else has been in here? I know Paula's got a channel, SG. So there you go.
Was brought into the hallway to the time that he arrived at the jail. And I
haven't seen Jocelyn around for a while either. She's got a channel. I know Paula Fitzhenry's got a great channel. So gave me one for $100 USD.
can tell you that he was not faking it, that he was very much paranoid, that he was very much terrified that they were going to kill him.
Let's take a look at a piece of that. We've got some of the video of Sheriff Steins. Again, this is very close in time to the shooting, but it's afterwards.
I'm surprised they didn't shoot him because, I mean, this could have, I know that one life is bad enough, but he could have unloaded on a lot of people.
See my daughter in person here.
Before you leave. Is that what you want?
At the jail.
At the jail?
Yeah, at the jail, through the screen, on the phone, I want to see my daughter in person. And then after that, I'll tell you everything. At that jail,
well,
in front of cameras, video recording.
Where's your daughter at? Where's your daughter? How do we track her down? Where's she at?
She's at LCC earlier. She's at LCC. I talked to her.
So now, Mickey, I want to kind of, for your daughter, let's talk about this. For your daughter, okay? If she finds out that.
Welcome in, Electric Wear Cat. I think that's Fiend. I don't know how to say that. Fiend. Fine. No sleep, paranoid, not good combination. Yep. Welcome in. Thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it. Look at this hallway. The door color here, something Kentucky-ish. I don't know. That's weird.
Her dad is being arrested for shooting the judge. And she's in high school. I didn't know how old she was, so I didn't know. So she's in high school. What is she, a senior? That's going to be hard.
She will want to see me. She will want. Now, come on, guys, be fair to me now.
I am getting.
Elizabeth, interesting. Every time I listen to this, I hear something else. He's referencing where his daughter was, but he also said, I spoke to her.
Yeah.
Do we know?
There were some rumors right after the shooting that he had went up to the high school to see her. And we didn't know if he had actually gotten to see her or not. But we hear it out of his own mouth. He obviously did talk to her.
And Dr. Carol Lieberman, when we get to a trial here, what it may ultimately be about is, and it will be about his state of mind, but whether or not he believes in his mind that his wife and daughter are in danger because of the judge.
Yes, and because people he might have had to say or thinks that he will have to say at the depositions, things that people in the courthouse, including the judge, wouldn't want him to say. So that's why.
That's exactly what I thought. It looks more like a school than a courthouse, but how do I know?
I think he thinks that he's, that he's being threatened.
And what have we learned, Elizabeth, about his daughter?
Let me know if Gretchen wants a wrench too. Yeah, the judge and him were friends, apparently, or acquaintances or whatever.
And her state of, she's young, right? She was in high school.
This is going to be a weird trial, man. They're going to throw everybody under the bus in this trial.
At the time, I feel so bad for this family, but they're in the middle of all of this. It seems that what's motivating the sheriff is something about his family. What was the status of the family? And it appears in court that they're obviously supporting him and stand behind him in all of this.
Well, some people are not going to like what I have to say, but Mickey, from what I've found out, Mickey's image was really important to him. A lot of people saw him as a family man, just salt of the earth. But I ended up finding out that he had an affair with a lady for about 7 or 8 years. And I've spoken with several other people that said that Mickey was really good about making people feel sorry for him. He could do the poor, poor, pitiful me thing really well.
I think it's possible that he was having some sort of a nervous breakdown. I don't know how old he was, but it's possible that he was suffering from some sort of a mental illness that was kind of creeping up on him, or some sort of, I know some people go through what they call a middle age crisis or whatever. Who knows? My brother went through that.
And I think he was as much of a family man as a lot of us wanted to believe.
That's interesting, people coming forward and telling you that. Obviously, Court TV, we have not independently verified any of that, but that could play a huge role if people are coming forward and saying things like that when it comes to the state of mind of the sheriff himself. And Dr. Carol Lieberman, I just want to follow up one more time, your observations of the sheriff, which are so important here. In the immediate aftermath of all of this, you are seeing someone who is legitimately in an altered state of paranoia.
Has the wife come out and said anything yet? I don't think she's said anything. It's so weird. Has she, I know a lot of times in these cases, the wife quickly files for divorce or something like that. Don't most guys buy a court vet or something? Yeah. That's too funny.
Yes, I mean, for as long as I was watching it, I watched the whole video, and it was a little over 2 hours. And for the whole length of the time, there was not one time when it seemed like this was inauthentic.
I mean, if looks play anything into us, he does look a little bit incoherent here. Like he just decided he was going to get up for some reason. I don't know what's going on here, but just an eyeball test here. It looks like he's a little bit miffed about what's going on right here. So I don't know. Maybe this is afterwards though.
In so many different ways. He didn't want to go into the room. They wanted to interrogate him in the room near where he was sitting. He wouldn't go into the room because he thought he'd be killed if he would kill him if he went into that room. Similarly, he was asking about the body cameras. I hope you have your body cameras on, because he wanted to make sure, he was worried they would kill him there. But if they had their body cameras on, he'd be a little safer, perhaps, he thought. All the way to the jail, he was saying the same thing. I know you're going to kill me. I know. And it wasn't like you're going to kill me because I killed the sheriff. I mean, the judge. And so I'm going to get
yeah, so weird. He keeps wanting either that or is adjusting the handcuffs, because this is one of those things you never want to go through in your life, having handcuffs behind you and trying to sit in a chair. It's got to be, and he's pretty plump here, so I'm pretty sure that's pretty uncomfortable behind his back there.
Death sentence. It wasn't that. It was that they were going to be killing him for some other reason, perhaps related to the deposition, perhaps something else. And, he and his wife had a fight the night before he killed the judge, or allegedly, or we saw it. The night before he killed the judge, he had a fight with his wife, which is presumably why he was a
lot of moving parts to all this. By the way, Dr. Carol Lieberman, you better stand by the phone. You may be getting a call from the defense team tonight after that.
So that's that. I just wanted to play that because that's been in the news of late. This is going to be a very interesting trial if it goes to trial, but we'll see. Okay, so I wanted to play this because this happened today here. Actually, right before I came on to do the live, so I wanted to play this here. This guy here just escaped. We have another one of these escapees here. So Jiaming Zhang. Search underway for inmate who escaped the Sullivan County House of Corrections here in Claremont, New Hampshire. I don't know if they caught this guy yet, but this was 4 hours ago. It's going to be pretty quick video here. So let's do this here. I haven't heard anything yet if they caught him or not. I pulled up the flight tracker. There were no helicopters in the air when I did that. It was before the live, so I don't know if they caught him yet or not.
Inmate has escaped the Sullivan County House of Corrections. There's an active search underway as we speak for that man. We're going to get right out to our Amani Fleming live at that facility with how officials say he got out. Amani?
Well, John, officials here at the jail do confirm that this inmate is an ICE detainee. They say he escaped this afternoon while outside in the rec yard by throwing a piece of clothing over a fence, scaling that fence, laying the clothing down over the barbed wire, and getting right past it. And we do want to give you a description of who this inmate is and what he looks like. Officials say his name is Jiaming Zhang. He is 33 years old, described as 5 feet 8 inches tall, and they say he was last seen in orange clothing. And Zhang was being held at this facility here in Claremont after being stopped by authorities and charged with being a fugitive from justice. Before that, he was charged with fraud in Oklahoma. And last month, News 9 reported Zhang had been accused of stealing thousands of dollars from an elderly Charlestown man in an online scam. He was charged with theft by deception too. So the superintendent here tells me there were about 20 other inmates in the rec yard of Zhang's escape. He says multiple agencies are now actively searching for him. He says they're using drones and they're using canines. He tells me an emergency code and full shutdown of the complex here was initiated just moments.
No, I do know that they are switching their. Apparently, there was a sighting of Travis Decker in Idaho. I forget the mountain name where they were looking last, but somebody apparently said they saw him. So now they're looking in the Idaho mountains. Who knows with the Travis Decker guy?
Moments after the escape.
Officer was out there, observed what was going on, and gave verbal commands, but it happened so quick that he wasn't able to use less lethal force or apprehend him before he escaped.
So authorities say if you do see Zhang somewhere, you should not approach him and immediately call 911 instead. Again, they do say that they believe he isn't a threat to public safety at this time, but regardless, they want people to be reaching out to their local authorities if they do see him.
All right, so that's that. I just wanted to play that because that happened, like I said, right before I came on. And I do want to get to this case too. This is the case of, hold on a second. Remember this kid? Dior Kunz. So I got his thing up here. So I remember this is back in 2015. So I'm missing since July 10th, 2015. Date of birth, December 30th, 2012. Male, height 3 feet, brown, eyes brown. Dior was last seen wearing a camouflage jacket and a blue pajama pants. So Dior went missing from Timber Creek Campground near Leodore, Idaho. Here we go back again on July 10th, 2015. And that's basically what we have for a write-up on him. But I remember this case like it was yesterday. So this is apparently this is the 911 call made by the parents. And this was at the campground. So here's this. And we'll play something else. I don't know why this has been coming up in the feed here lately, but this is, I don't think they ever found him. So that's why this is, but this is the 911 call from the mom, I think.
2nd, July 10, 2015.
Does anybody remember this case? I watched a Truth Revealed analysis on Baby Dior. Anyway, this is the 911 call.
What's the address of your emergency?
I'm actually camping in Leadore, just outside of Leadore.
Uh-huh.
My 2-year-old son We can't find him.
What's your name?
Jessica
Jessica who?
Mitchell.
How long has he been missing?
About an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
Are you by water?
Yes.
Okay, stay on the phone with me, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to put you on hold. John? I need... Do you know which campground you're in? What?
Timber Creek.
Pardon me?
It's Stone Reservoir, Timber Creek.
Stone Reservoir?
Yeah, or Timber Creek.
Hold on. We need search and rescue.
This is one of these cases that got me involved in this whole horrible thing, true crime shit. Like, this is just this is the stuff that really drives me crazy, is how stuff like this can actually happen. And it's been, I don't know, a good 10 years, 11 years. And this is just, this is the reason why I do this crap. It's just awful. Just terrible shit here. Look at this kid, right?
Jessica? Jessica?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, they need to really reinvent the wheel when it comes to 911 operators. I haven't heard a good one for, I don't know, years. They need to slap these people and have a little bit of like bedside manner or some sort of caring or feeling or whatever. And I understand it's a tough job. You get really weird calls. It can't be an easy job, but the whole I keep forgetting her name in the list case. That operator right there, that 911 operator should have been fired. Literally, terrible person. Anyways, that's just my rant.
What's your son's name? What is it?
Your ORR.
What's his first name?
That's his first name. Your.
Oh. B-O-R-R?
O-R.
Just O-R-R?
Oh.
Okay. What is he wearing?
He was wearing cowboy boots, a blue pair, like pajama pants, and a camel jacket. And he's got shaggy blonde hair.
How tall is he? Hello?
I'm not exactly sure how. He's about.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Is your husband calling too?
Like all down where we were camping at, and we can't find him at all.
Okay. Hang on. Do you know how far outside of Ledor you are? What?
It's the turn off right after like the general store and the post office in Ledor, and it's at Timber Creek.
As you're going up over the pass?
If you're in Ledor and you're at the like gas station, you take the street on the left-hand side, right across the street from the gas station, and go straight out that street.
Is it a paved road?
No.
Okay, as you're headed towards Ledor, you take a right on the street across the street from the gas station.
It would be a
Well,
left.
they're saying, I mean, this is from Wikipedia, so who knows if this is accurate, but so they're saying Dior, age 2, vanished July 10th, 2015 while visiting Timber Lake Campground. I'll pull that up in a second. Lemhi County near Leodore, Idaho with his parents, Jessica Mitchell, and Vernal Dior Kuntz, all he's a Dior Kuntz Jr., right? So it's he's a junior. All animal kidnapping, illegal adoption, and wandering off have been ruled out by law enforcement. So there you go. I don't know what that means.
A left.
Yeah. And there's a sign that says like Timber Creek and
Okay,
stuff like that.
and you're gonna like from Idle Falls.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on just a second. She said you take a left on the street just past the gas station as you're coming in from Idle Falls, and it says Timber Creek. Okay. Okay, we need you to stay within cell service. We've got people going on the way.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. And you keep us updated with anything that's going on, okay?
Okay.
All right. Don't go away from cell service.
Okay.
Okay, so let me hold on one second. Do this here. 1 second here. Just to get an idea of where we are. So this is this is the campground here. Let me back out. This is Stone River Reservoir there. I had all of this shit on my other computer that bit the dust. So I didn't back up anything on it. So all of my information on this kid disappeared. So now I got to go through this all over again. But anyways, so there's Leodore Hill there. There's Timber Creek campground there. We'll get some images in a second. Again, this is in the middle of nowhere. Hey, there's a Chinatown there too. So there's nothing here at all. A lot of campgrounds, a lot of mountains. It's what you'd expect to see in Idaho. So these are some images here. A lot of water here. Right. So this is that's cool. Look at these mountains, man. So that's that. I'll keep this up for a second here. All right. So let's I do want to go back to this for a second here. We'll play this one here. This was done a day ago. We'll do this one here. So this is going to come from Idaho. I like to give the local channels some recognition here. So let's do this here. Hold on a second. Play another one here. Okay. So this was done 17 hours ago. Nate Eaton explores the Timber Creek campground, the campsite where this is strange how this is coming up again. They may be getting close. Maybe they're getting close to something here, but this has been kind of, I don't know, not reported on for the last 3 or 4 years, I think. So maybe they're getting somewhere on this. So this is Nate. He explores Timber Creek campground, the campsite where this kid vanished. So here we go.
Leadore, and now we are going to drive up to the Timber Creek campground. The stage stop where Jessica and Vernal say they went to get some items the day that Dior disappeared. That's right on the main strip. It's the only business that sells stuff here near the campsite. You can get gas, soda, candy, whatever. And then you turn down this side road that we're on right now to head up to the campsite. It's about a 15 to 20 minute drive from here if the weather's good and if the roads are clear. From the road, it's about 8 miles to get to the Timber Creek Reservoir. So we're going to turn down Timber Creek Road here. You can see just how desolate it is out here. In fact, there's no cell phone reception during most of this drive most of the.
I don't know. The first I heard of this case, I was thinking the same thing I was thinking about the other case with that other kid we just covered tonight about an animal thing, but apparently law enforcement's kind of ruled all of this shit out. So all animal kidnapping means, so they don't think he was kidnapped. They don't think he was kidnapped for illegal adoption and wandering off have all been ruled off by law enforcement. So, I mean, that's weird. I didn't know that.
The area, but if you pan out here, you can see there's just miles and miles of vast space, shrubbery.
They say that humans live on 1% of the Earth, and you can tell, when you go to places like this here, there's nobody. You're not going to see anybody here at all. But look at these mountains. I mean, this is awesome.
Really, Dior could be anywhere out there. So we're about 7 miles away from the campsite at this point. You can see the road is pretty bumpy. I don't know if you can see, or the camera might be shaking a little bit. We're going about 20 miles an hour. Can't go much quicker, otherwise you might damage your car. So when Dior disappeared, ATVs were very helpful in trying to search for him. Same with horses and people on foot. Small type of vehicles, though, wouldn't do well up here. If you drove a passenger type car, you might have issues getting it up here. We're in a medium size.
I know that there was a lot of speculation about the parents. I know these cases here are there's so many missing kids and children and all of this stuff here that when you do this shit, I'm not saying I'm special or anything, but when you do this stuff as long as I have, they all seem to kind of fit into a narrow category, and you forget all the evidence. Let me know if Gretchen wants a wrench. But like I said, I'd lost my other computer, so I had everything on there. And now I got to redo everything, and especially these older cases. But that doesn't mean I'm giving up on them. It's just it sucks that I lost that computer because all of that information was there. So we'll blame that.
SUV, and you can see it's still a little bumpy. You wouldn't want to go too fast. Up here, you can see.
Oh, Montreal Confrere. No, you want to go really fast over the bumps so you can get some height, right?
See, there's a couple of cattle grades that we are going over.
No,
and it's just a really remote part of Idaho.
These people who say this stuff, man, it's like you just wonder if they're playing with a straight brain. Obviously something happened. Obviously something. What it is, I don't know. Right? It's I just don't know. Is it a rental car? Speed up here.
Perfect place to go camping.
I used to rent cars a lot, but nowadays if I need a car, I went to Turo last year for a couple of weeks. They're awesome. I'm not promoting them or anything. I'm just saying that it was the easiest thing I had to do is because rental cars, they never have the car they tell you you're going to get, and they never clean them either. So it's just, anyways.
But off the grid, you'd have to really know where you were going if you wanted to try to find the campsite. This is the campsite where Dior and his family were camping. It obviously is a little bit different now, 10 years later versus back on that day. But over here is where Isaac had set up his tent, kind of near this boulder.
Sorry, y'all, I'm laying here, got the spins and feeling dizzy and nauseous, but love you. Oh, you poor thing, Heather. Oh, my God. Is that from some of the stuff you're taking, or? Yeah, go to sleep and feel better for sure. We love you, Heather, a lot. Just take care of yourself. Don't worry about the live. You're an amazing person. I just hope you start feeling better soon. I got your GoFundMe thing going across the bottom of the screen here, and I think other people are going to step up here soon and do more for you. So we love Heather. Heather's an amazing freaking person, and we just hope she feels better. She's just awesome. She's just awesome, and I hope you get better, kiddo. I just do.
Then you have the picnic table with the fire pit here. The SUV, we're told, was parked somewhere in this area. And Grandpa Bob, when Dior vanished, had a lawn chair set up somewhere in this area. Now, originally, Isaac...
Is it supposed to happen a lot, though? Yeah, see, everybody's saying lay down, relax, and get some sleep. We love you. Feel bad.
And Jessica and Vernal decided to go up here to take a look at some fish.
Isaac actually leaves with them.
With the parents.
To show them where to fish.
And then breaks off.
And then breaks off and comes back. And ends up down here.
Now let me show you. The creek is just down this steep hill. Fairly steep. I mean, you could walk down it if you find the right spot. This is a cutoff from the main water creek, which is on the other side. We'll go down there in a minute and show you what it looks like. But let me walk.
Hold on a second here. He was July. So July, it would have been pretty close to the same kind of weather conditions. So
up to where Jessica and Vernal say they went to look at the fish.
I don't see a lot of pine trees around here. All right, hold on a second. This is why I don't do this stuff, stopping and pausing a lot. Okay, so here we go. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
Isaac had set up his tent kind of near this boulder. Then you have the picnic table with the fire pit here. The SUV, we're told, was parked somewhere in this area. And Grandpa Bob, when Dior vanished, had a lawn chair set up somewhere in this area. Now, originally, Isaac and Jessica and Vernal decided to go up here to...
Sleep well, Heather.
To take a look at some fish.
Isaac actually leaves with them.
With the parents.
To show them where to fish.
And then breaks off.
And then breaks off and comes back. And ends up down here.
Now let me show you. The creek is just down this steep hill. Fairly steep. I mean, you could walk down it if you find the right spot. This is a cutoff from the main water creek, which is on the other side. We'll go down there in a minute and show you what it looks like. But let me walk up to where Jessica and Vernal say they went to look at the fish. Okay, now we're about 100 yards away from the picnic table. This is where we're told Jessica and Vernal came to fish or look for fish. When they came out, they realized that their son was gone. They did some searching. Now, Jessica called 911 from this spot, we're told, because she was worried that she couldn't get a cell phone reception down that way. Today, the cell phone reception is much better up here. I have, 3 bars and I can call out. But at that time, you were in a dead zone. She was able to call 911 while Vernal hopped in his truck, went down the path. But that's when he turned back around and came back up here and said, we haven't looked hard enough. And you can overhear him when she's on the phone with 911. You can overhear him in the background talking with her as she is on the phone with dispatch.
14:28, 4 seconds, July 10, 2015.
What's the address of your emergency?
I'm actually camping in Leadworth.
Okay. You don't have to do anything with the wrench, so And if you don't want one, you don't have to have one. I know Jenny 8675309 comes in here sometimes. I haven't seen her for a while, but she doesn't have a wrench either. But I'll give you one.
Just outside of Leavenworth.
Uh-huh.
My 2-year-old son, we can't find him.
What's your name?
Jessica
Jessica who?
Mitchell.
How long has he been missing?
About an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
Are you by water?
Yes.
Okay, stay on the phone with me, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to put you on hold. John? I need... Do you know which campground you're in? What?
Timber Creek.
Pardon me?
It's Stone Reservoir, Timber Creek.
Stone Reservoir?
Yeah, or Timber Creek.
I mean, I've taken two things from this 911 call because I don't think this has ever been released. I could be wrong. But for the beginning of this, she sounds very, very nervous and like somebody probably would be if their son was missing. And then towards the end of it, and it could be just because of the fact that the 911 caller, the operator, is being a douche, trying to really, straighten up for the call, right? Like just making sure that she gets the information out, right? So, I mean, that's what I take from it.
Hold on. We need search and rescue. Jessica?
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it. You've been in here before, though. That's fine. So, I'm very giving with the wrenches because I do know there's a lot of great creators out there, and I have no problem promoting better creators. So that's why I do it.
Jessica?
Yeah.
What's your son's name? What is it?
Yours.
I think they try to get the basics. I know. I don't know the actual protocol that they have, but some of them are just really horrible people. And it's not getting any better.
ORR.
What's his first name?
That's his first name. Dior.
B-O-R-R?
O-R.
That could be possible, but I don't know. I don't know about that.
Just O-R-R? Okay. What is he wearing?
He was wearing cowboy boots, a blue.
I know. That's so awesome, Paula. I was over there. I was there. You didn't do a live, but you did a recording, and I saw that you were at 997. That's freaking awesome. Good for you. We love Paula here too. Paula's amazing.
Hair, like pajama pants, and
I can always count on Paula to check in on me to make sure I'm going live. I'm gonna need a week off here though at some point. I don't think it's gonna be soon, but because there's just too many freaking cases going on right now. But cases like this here with I've covered this case before, the Coons case. These cases here really bother me. So this is just, I mean, it's been 10 fucking years. Like where could this kid be? And they've ruled out everything except for the parents, pretty much.
a camel jacket. And he's got shaggy blonde hair.
How tall is he? Hello?
We just need Dino to tell us where the bodies are, and then we'll be fine. Pretty sure Dino's an SKer. I could be wrong.
I'm not exactly sure how to give it up.
Are you there?
No, we disappeared.
Okay. Is your husband calling too?
Like all down where we were camping at, and we can't find him at all.
Okay. Hang on. Do you know how far outside of Ledor you are? What?
It's the turnoff right after like the general store and the post office in Ledor, and it's at Timber Creek.
As you're going up over the pass?
If you're in Ledor and you're at the like gas station, you take the street on the left-hand side, right across the street from the gas station, and go straight out that street.
Is it a paved road?
No.
Okay, as you're headed towards Ledor, you take a right on the street across the street from the gas station.
It would be a left.
A left.
Yeah. And there's a sign that says like Timber Creek and
Okay,
stuff like that.
and you're coming like from Idle Falls.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on just a second. She said you take a left on the street just past the gas station as you're coming in from Idle Falls, and it says Timber Creek. Okay.
Like the Shannon Gilbert 911 operator in the List case. I mean, you couldn't have had a worse operator than that. She just that's just my opinion. Tracy's taking off. Is Dino taking off, or who's going? Dino, I didn't mean it. But have a good night, buddy. Stop driving your go-kart in dry gas. It's funny. Have a good night, buddy. Dino's awesome. Okay, good. Well, not good that he's leaving. It's just good. I know Dino has his OnlyFans thing going, so he's probably doing that next. No, Dino's awesome. Awesome guy on his channel. I appreciate all the hard work you've been putting into the Heather stuff, so appreciate it.
Okay, we need you to stay within cell service. We've got people going on the way.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. And you keep us updated with anything that's going on, okay?
Okay.
All right. Don't go away from cell service.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
From there, the family made their way back down to the picnic table area. That's when search and
I do notice that she didn't say anything about going to look for fish, right? So,
rescue crews arrived and searched every inch of this campground and the surrounding area. Now today,
how is this even possible? Like, you look at how open this is, right? So you can see, it's not like there's foliage all around here and stuff like that. You can see, it's not a big distance from where they were and where their son was. So I don't know how you can't, I don't know, keep an eye on the kid. Like, it's just, where did he go? Where could he possibly go? Wasn't he was being watched by his grandfather, right? Or something like that. So, I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
We're up here and there's tents. You can see there's 5 or 6 different tents here with coolers. There are people camping, enjoying the week. But at the time,
right?
The family, Jessica Vernal.
It's just this is all open in here. It's like not like there's no cliffs around here, or just the campground.
Dior, Bob, and Isaac, they were the only people here on this particular campsite. There was another camping party up over this hill on the upper campsite, but on that weekend, there weren't as many tents around as there are today. So just down the hill from the campsite, you can see there's a creek. There's actually a fork right here where the water comes together. On the day that Dior went missing, the water was much higher than it is today. And search and rescue crew members, they got on their hands, on their knees, on their feet, and they actually crawled through the water looking for any sign of Dior. So you can see behind me, this is the reservoir where the focus of the search was pretty intent those first few days. It's pretty large. It's right above the campsite. The water is pretty clear. In fact, just looking from where we're at, I'm pretty sure you can see the bottom or you can see most of it. So it would be easy to see from the sky. Again, they had divers in there on their hands and on their feet and on their knees. They had poles that they were using to prod into the water, and no sign of Dior was found inside this reservoir. Now, a few days after Dior vanished, the dogs, the cadaver dogs, did hit on this reservoir. That's because someone unknowingly dumped a bunch of cremains into the water. Well, they knew they were doing it, but what they didn't know is that a 2-year-old was missing. And that's why the dogs hit on this reservoir early on. But it turns out those were human cremains that a person came forward and said that they dumped some ashes in there and that it was not, unfortunately, it was not Dior.
All right, so I got my one. Actually, I do want to play a couple more things, then I'll get out of here. I did want to play. Hold on, I'm trying to find it here. There's Dior there. We'll play. Hold on a second here. Oh, I wanted to play this here too because this has been coming up quite a bit in the news lately here. This was done 3 days ago. So this is another old case here. Yes, I think so. I think that's the only thing I remember about this case right now, off the top of my head. So let's get out of here. This is another older case here, but I don't know. This is going to be kind of disturbing. Yeah, this one here. This is the Gallatin kids here. This has been coming up quite a bit. This was done a few days ago. So these are all older cases that I've covered before. The mysteries of the bodies where 5 babies killed unalived almost 100 years ago are buried continues. And on Tuesday, we learned that the coroner is expanding his investigation. Cambria County Coroner Jeff Lees said he is leading a team of investigators to exhume the bodies of 5 babies killed in the 1920s and 1930s by their mother. So this is a really old case. So here's this here.
5 babies killed almost 100 years ago are buried continues.
Today, the coroner says he is expanding his investigation. Cambria County Coroner Jeff Lees led a team to exhume the bodies of 5 babies killed in the 1920s and 30s by their mother. Their mummified bodies were found in a trunk in Stella Williamson's Gallitzin home in 1980 after her death. Skulls of 2 of the babies were recently found at a museum in Philadelphia and returned to Lees for burial. But yesterday, the team couldn't find the original remains in a county-owned cemetery.
Lee says they did bury the skulls. He says he wants to find out how the bodies are not where they were supposed to be. Lee's told us using the excuse, this is how they used to do things, is, quote, unacceptable. Now, WJC's extensive coverage of the Gallitzin baby murders began with the discovery of the remains back in 1980.
Our former colleague John McClintock tells us he saw the remains himself.
I believe it was a case of getting a phone call from someone who wondered why all the police were in the neighborhood. It was probably the most bizarre I ever covered in news and television. It was a case of the police being at this place and a few neighbors looking on, but there wasn't a crowd or anyone there. We pretty much had it to ourselves at the time. It wasn't allowed in the house, but a few days later I got to see the trunk, and it wasn't a pleasant thing to be around.
You had the opportunity to see the trunk where the babies were found. Did you look inside of the trunk?
Yes.
This is like the trunk, literally the trunk of the car. This years ago, the cars didn't have open trunks like we have today. This is the trunk that sat on the back of the car, and this was literally the trunk.
and you could tell outside that there was something in there. It wasn't something you think you could hide for as long as it did, but and of course these were skeletons essentially. They had been in there so long, but they each had these poorly fashioned nooses around their neck, and there was with this.
Like I said, this is a little bit disturbing here.
The odor that comes with death.
Do you mind me asking, do you recall how you had access to the trunk to be able to even look at it with what would be evidence at that time of a murder?
When you're doing reporting and all in the late 70s and the 80s, it was a different time. Got a tip that the trunk was out at the barracks, the Evansburg State Police Barracks, and the helicopter was there. Covering police as long as I have, you get to know at least some of them pretty well. And I was always on the street. I wasn't very much in the studio at all. And they offered, "You want to see him?" And I didn't know at first. They said, "Well, it's not really that weird." And so someone offered to show them to me. And I was speechless at that point. I don't think anyone can imagine what that looks like. Yeah, I find myself wondering, was there names she wants attached to these, or was it a case of her killing them right away?
Would you like to know where they are?
As a reporter, and maybe as a just curious person, I want to know where they are. You know, it's curious, and I think I'll be thinking about it a lot more in years to come.
We're following that breaking news out of Cambria County. You're looking at the effort to retrieve the bodies of 5 babies believed to be buried at the Cambria County-owned cemetery there in Evansburg.
Today, County Coroner Jeff Lees is working to solve a mystery and perhaps put closure on a dark moment in Cambria County's history.
He tells us this operation is to recover the remains of the babies, 3 of whom were determined to have been murdered by their own mother in Gallitzin nearly 95 years ago. It's a story that shocked our area and the country when it first broke back in 1980.
Investigators say Stella Williamson killed her children in the 1920s and 30s. Immediately after her death in 1980, a letter was discovered where she confessed to killing the children.
Her note led state.
Unbelievable. Can you imagine that? It's like, how is this even possible? She confession letter in 1980, after she died, she wrote a confession letter before she died, obviously, and all these bodies were found in a trunk.
Police to a trunk in her attic where the bodies were stored. The bodies were flown to Philadelphia, where an anthropologist examined the remains to determine the cause of death. The bodies were then brought back to Cambria County for burial. At least that's what officials in Cambria County thought.
Yeah, we're learning 2 skulls were not returned and recently discovered at a museum in Philadelphia. Their trip back to Cambria County is where our team coverage begins of a final rest, the Gallitzin baby murders. We'll have a look back at the history of the case from our Jonathan O'Halloran.
And we'll hear from Emily Marinas. She has more on how the Mutter Museum recently discovered the skulls in their possession. But first, Brock Owens is live at the cemetery where teams work to uncover the remains today.
Brock, what did County Coroner Jeff Lees tell you?
Jen and Sean, nothing but brick, sewage piping, and more questions than answers. That's what Cambria County Coroner Jeff Lees says was in the hole that was dug up behind me in Potter's Field. It was a 30 by 30 foot hole where they were looking for the baby remains before deciding.
That was my first question too. I'm sure they probably did some sort of a forensic handwriting analysis on it, but who knows? This is one of those cases in Pennsylvania that'll probably go down in history as I have no idea. I'll try to look into that.
To stop looking and burying the 2 skulls of the babies recently discovered. After the 5 babies were discovered in 1980 and sent for an autopsy in Philadelphia, they were thought to have been sent back and buried in Laurel United Cemetery in Cambria Township. That's where the county coroner's office and anthropology team from Mercyhurst University, an experienced backhoe operator, and Cambria County Box 11 were set up today, hoping to reunite the babies. Lee says they dug 5 feet into the ground all around the area the pine box with the remains was expected to be before making the call to stop looking. The anthropologist says there are no indications in the area that show any signs that there was anything buried there. Lee says it's disappointing to not be able to reunite the babies, but the 2 skulls were buried at the site.
You know, it wasn't an easy decision, but it was one that I had to make the stop. If something ever turns up, you know, you can guarantee.
I agree. I agree. And this whole burial thing is another thing. Like, you can't trust anybody these days at all.
To you that I can guarantee we'll be back here doing it properly.
And once again, not only were there no remains able to be recovered in this field, but there were no indications, according to officials, that there was ever a burial, and there were no indications made in that dirt that something had been buried in that area ever. Live in Cambria County, Brock Owens, 6 News.
Thanks, Brock. As we mentioned, this story went national.
All right, so I want to play one more thing, then I'll get out of here. I do want to go to that's just upsetting, right? Like, I mean, somebody needs to get fired for that, or whatever. All right, so we're going to go to the latest on the Jennifer Keese thing here. Hold on one second here, because I think this case may be getting close to being, I don't want to say solved, but I think they're moving pretty good on this case here. So I've done 6 or 7 different lives on Jennifer Keese here. She vanished 2 decades ago. Her Orlando apartment investigators say there are new developments in the case, including newly uncovered DNA evidence and a narrow list of persons of interest. So, listening to the father in this case is just, it's tough, but I think they're getting close. That's just my opinion. So here's the latest on that. This was done a few days ago, I think July 7th. Okay, so here we go. I wanted to play this last week, but I didn't have enough time.
Years since Jennifer Keese was reported missing in Orlando. She left her apartment in 2006 and was.
And I always get her name wrong. I don't know why. It's Keese, but Charlotte's here. Hey, Charlotte, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, right. It's well, they didn't even bury him, apparently. Improper record keeping for starters, and why 2 skulls separated. Exactly what I'm talking about. Like, how is that even possible? Right? They just didn't do anything. They had all these people there, and they didn't do anything, and now they have to redo it. It's so, like, good Lord. It's good to see Charlotte here. I don't see Charlotte a lot anymore. Maybe it's because I'm on too early. Hi, Charlotte. How are you? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing okay.
Was never seen again. Fox 35's Marie Edinger spoke with her father today, and he says there are some new details in the investigation pointing to a person of interest.
Drew Keese remembers that day, almost 2 decades ago, realizing his daughter, Jennifer, was missing and having law enforcement, as he puts it, shrug him off.
It's the ultimate frustration, I guess, you could have in one.
So they basically tried doing the same thing to this guy that they do to everybody in these cases, and not tell the family anything. But so they sued to get the information from law enforcement, and they did, and they kind of did their own investigations into stuff. So turns out that I think the FBI got involved, or somebody else got involved, and now here we are 20 years later. It looks like there's a little bit of movement here in this case.
one's life when people aren't listening to you.
Jennifer vanished from her Orlando apartment complex after leaving for work the morning of January 24th, 2000.
This case here is very similar to the Jody Huisentruit case. She just walked out one morning to go to work and she just vanished. One thing about this case here is they did get an image of whoever they think might have been responsible for the crime, whatever, because apparently that person might have moved her car. So, but I think there's new information in this case here that might change the outlook of this.
2006. Her disappearance stumped investigators for years. The case went cold. Her father wound up suing the city of Orlando and the Orlando Police Department, demanding documents relating to the investigation and saying that investigation had been botched. After he won and got those documents, a team of 13 retired law enforcement investigators volunteered to pore over the intel.
I'll always keep going. Period. I'll always have energy. I'm like a horse until you just plop over and die. I'll always keep going.
Kessie says last month he got a call from FDLE telling him investigators had new DNA evidence and that they narrowed down their persons of interest.
With Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Jennifer has finally gotten her opportunity. And they've told us that. They have everything in the world, all the resources, all the people to do the job right now. And they set their sights on doing it.
Things have come a long way since Jennifer first disappeared. The Jennifer Kessie and Tiffany Sessions Missing Person Act now requires law enforcement agencies to adopt written policies and procedures for handling missing person cases. Kessie says he's happy his daughter's legacy will be able to help others. That's all he cares about. He says he isn't vengeful.
I simply want my daughter back, and that's all I'm asking for. You can't bring her back. You can't hurt us anymore. So why am I going to waste my air, at least, on whoever did it?
Kessie says they are still hoping tips from the public will push the case forward.
If you know something, just come forward. It's okay. I mean, it's just simply okay.
Marie Edinger, Fox 35 News.
All right, so since Charlotte just came in here, I'll play a couple more things. This was done 3 days ago. This is a cold... Whoops, this is a cold case. Hold on a second. I will switch screens here. Hold on a second. So this is a cold case arrest here. This is coming out of Washington. DC police, Washington, D.C., sorry. D.C. police make an arrest in a 1999 waitress unaliving. So a police charge a 70-year-old suspect with the slaying of a waitress found, unalived inside her apartment in 1999. And I'm assuming that this was, from DNA stuff here. So let's check this out here.
Cold case 26 years after a young waitress was found stabbed to death in her D.C. apartment. Police announced they finally caught her suspected killer.
They charged 70-year-old George Mudd with first-degree murder. He lived down the street from the victim. News 4's Amy Cho has more on how investigators cracked the case and why it took so long.
We want to warn you that some of the details in this story can be upsetting.
It was a mystery that remained unsolved for more than a quarter century. Who stabbed and killed?
We hope you're okay, Charlotte. You almost just ate a sticker on a peach. What kind of peaches you eating, bro? Bruh? Do they make peaches different in Canada? What the fuck?
Killed 24-year-old Susan Svengros in her Capitol Hill apartment. After 26 years, D.C. police say it was DNA evidence that finally led them to a suspect, her then neighbor George Mudd, now 70 years old and being charged with first-degree murder. Prosecutors say the victim was friends with some of George Mudd's relatives, and she'd met him once before. The exact motive for the murder is still unclear. The victim's former boss tells News 4 he's relieved police finally made an arrest.
Gosh, 25 years, but it's better than never. I'm just glad that right now, Susan can know that her memory is going to be, remembered as a closed case file.
Court documents.
What's going on over in England that, You wouldn't recognize it over here anymore. It's so sad to watch it all happening. I was in London last week, and it's ghastly. Way to go, Charlotte. Now Dave's going to talk more. That's too funny. I've never seen a sticker on a peach before. Those dang Canadians again. I know they put stickers on tomatoes.
Describe a brutal murder scene and say Susan Svengross was alive when her throat was cut because there was froth, indicating that she was still breathing, drowning, and conscious, and that she could have been sexually
Triggering.
assaulted after she was killed. Charging documents reveal DNA evidence from the sexual assault exam was a match for George Mudd all the way back in 2012. At the time, he was serving 10 years in federal prison after being convicted in a different attack on another neighbor. In that case, George Mudd...
He's freaking 70. Like, what, I mean, it's sad.
Stabbed the woman in the neck and tried to sexually assault her. Mudd told investigators he used crack cocaine and paid many women for sex, but denied rape.
Have a good night, Paula. Thank you so much for coming in. Have a great week. I'm going to try to sub to you on a couple of my different accounts so you can get to the 1,000. Have a great week, Paula. We love you here.
Or killing Susan Svengross.
In a case like this, we really particularly spent a lot of time looking at our DNA evidence and really evaluating it. So after all these years, there's re-interviews of witnesses, there's re-interviews and reanalyzing DNA evidence.
But the question remains, if investigators have...
I'm telling you, the advancements in DNA over the last have just been amazing. The polite way to describe it is a clash of cultures, ours and theirs. You can feel the anger in the air. It's even spreading to the countryside, too. Is it the Yorks and the Lancastrians again? I know. I'm supposed to do episode 2 of the Princess in the Tower thing. I'm probably gonna record the next episode, so I might do that this week. I do want to get into Henry the First on my next one, because we did William the Conqueror, and then we're gonna go skip to his son to get to Matilda, and then we'll go from there. So hopefully I'll be bringing that out this week.
known for 13 years now that the DNA evidence in this case linked to George Mudd. Why did it take them so long to arrest him? Well, according to the court document,
Sorry to hear that, though.
the FBI had lost the DNA data file for this case for several years, and it was only
Henry the First and the drunken, what they call it, the BUI, boating under the influence. The guy, poor guy, he lived his whole life so his son could take over the throne, and you can't make this stuff up. Islam, it seems. Oh, really?
after they were able to find the file in July of last year that the case was able to move forward. Amy Cho, News 4.
Today in court, prosecutors said Mudd also pled guilty in 2000 to robbery for threatening a woman with a box cutter. His defense attorneys asked the judge to release him on bond on the grounds he has medical needs, including diabetes and an...
Well, who freaking cares, right? Like, who gives a shit? I mean, honestly. I mean, poor him, you know. Oh, people are so weird. Okay, so this arrest made 26-year-old. Let's just go down the list here. I did want to play a little of this, though, but it's too late. Let's play this here. This Jody Huisentrude case, I don't know, this case is really bothering me, too. Let's do this one here. Arrest made in 26-year-old murder case of Susan. Did we just do that one?
DC police have made an arrest in a cold case murder from 1999.
Yep, that's the same one. So let me try to find something else here. Let's do Hey, that's me right there. Let's do. Well, I can get there from here, so let's do this. We will do a little bit of it right here.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay, so I don't want to hear this one. I do want to hear. Oh, this one's pretty good here.
Reflection now tonight at
So
6
this
on the successful.
this was done a couple weeks ago, but we'll play it anyways. And then there's that one. There's that one. I think there's movement in this case here too. 4 years ago, I'm trying to find the one. 7 months ago, 4 months ago. We'll play this one here. So we've covered a lot on this here, but this is the 30-year anniversary, if you want to call it, this woman's disappearance here. They've never found her. We've done a lot of cases on this here. So
Life and career Jodi could have had, and details from investigators as they look to help solve the mystery 3 decades later.
As our Olivia Pronzinski explains, it also brings hope. The cold case won't see another year go by unsolved.
In the early morning of June 27th, 1995, Jodi Huisentruit was getting ready to go to her morning news anchor shift here in Mason City. It was here at the Key Apartments 30 years ago where she was abducted. Now, 30 years later, we still have no answers or accountability to her abduction. Now, people close to the case say their frustration continues to grow.
I'll have to cover that. Maybe I'll cover that. I didn't know that was going on over there.
Here, there's been a rush and a lot of activity and a lot of visibility, but I can't say standing here today that we feel any closer than we were before. I hope we are, but I certainly don't feel that.
A search in rural Winstead, Minnesota. A main suspect passing away, investigators comparing notes in other cases, and a court battle to unseal a search warrant. These are all things that have been topics in the 29th year of Jodi's disappearance, and things that leave Mason City Police Chief Jeff Brinkley to say things feel into the 3rd decade milestone.
Hopefully the work that has been done recently that has been in the focus of the media helps to reassure people that we're still doing what we've been doing all along.
Efforts to keep Jodi visible can still be seen around Mason City. This year with a new message, 30 years.
This is the case where I want to say that the white vehicle is actually probably something of interest because they did see what they call a white van, a white working van outside the apartment. So I wonder in this case if there was some sort of work going on in the condominium development that she was staying in, and this guy kind of caught her at going to her car in the morning, saying, I need to go in the apartment to fix something, and something like that. But I do think in this case here, that white that white van might be something nefarious.
It's time. Journalist Caroline Lowe says a big challenge now is fading memories, and people close to the case have since passed away.
Get it off your shoulders. Let investigators see if maybe it corroborates something in their files.
Efforts to keep the case front of mind seem to be working. Chief Brinkley says not 1 month goes by without a tip in Jodi's case.
Get emails, calls, letters, all kinds of different kinds of communication, people trying to help us.
Well, passing time is a disadvantage. Evolving forensic science has given many cold cases a renewed sense of hope.
We have to just bounce those with the information and the evidence that we have.
That's awful. Sorry you're going through that. Yeah, the 90s were. It's tough to look back at some of the styles and stuff of past generations, past decades, because it looks so good then, but it doesn't look so good now.
In trying to move the case forward.
If there's one thing I've learned as a cold case
investigator, it's that you can never give up hope, because there are cases 50 years old that are being unraveled in this day and age.
According to Find Jodi, 2 separate federal grand juries have investigated Jodi's case. Both ended without any indictments. In the 30th year, private investigator Steve Ridge says impaneling another grand jury could prove helpful.
Just to gather information and interview people while they are still able to contribute.
Friend and last known person to see Jodi, John Van Cise, passed away in December of 2024. He is someone who investigators have watched closely.
Yeah, I just don't think he did it. It's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I just don't think he did it at all.
When asked if he is still being investigated, Chief Brinkley kept details close to the vest.
Yeah, I don't have any comment on that side of case facts at this point.
Everyone close to the case says it's time for a confession.
And we're not going to stop looking for answers and try to avoid these annual events.
Put yourself in the shoes of the family members and her coworkers and friends who have lived with this for the last 30 years.
Reporting in Mason City, I'm Olivia Pronzinski.
The Iowa Cold Case Unit has yet to look into Jodi's case. Chief Brinkley says there absolutely is a place and time down the road the unit could be an additional resource. Anyone with
All right, so that's the end of that. I'm going to get out of here. I've been here way too long. It's I've been here almost 4 hours. Oh my God. Chevy Caprice was I tech back then for sure. Got good gas mileage. The real mess. Great Britain is falling, and I have no pleasure in saying that. It's really bad. Our cities are unrecognizable. These people have no manners and think it's okay to grab you. That's terrible. That's awful. That's terrible, Charlotte. Well, come in here. We're good. We're not going to grab you in here. I got grabbed last week in London. One on a e-bike taking my phone. The other tried grabbing my back. It's just not safe here now. That's terrible. That's awful. I feel bad for you. That's terrible. If there's anything I can do, let me know. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have all been great. Thank you, Charlotte, for coming in. Sorry I always come in here when I'm trying to get out of here. Gretchen, thank you very much for coming in. It's always to see you here. Shibby, take care. Stay out of trouble in there in Canada. Tracy, thank you so much for coming in. You're awesome. Always good to have you here. Wealth of knowledge with Tracy. I know Paula was in here. Let's see here. I know that Mino Dino was in here. Heather, I hope you feel better. We love you, Heather. Just always thinking about you here. I know that Fiend was in here. I know that Big Fish was in here. Hide current comment. Let's do that. I know that Karen Lee was in here. Puck Elf was in here. Heather Brown's amazing. Dee Dee was in here. Dee Dee's awesome. I know that Skits was in here. Skits is awesome. Go check out Skits' channel. She's great. Gretchen, thank you so much. I think I already said that. I'm trying to get to everybody. Thank you for everybody that watches on the replay. I know a lot of people do because I'm up here so late. But thanks anyways for on the replay. I really appreciate that. I'm going to try to do a couple of recordings this week and get them out. I do want to do a little bit more in the tropics. But anyways, thank you everybody for coming in. I'm going to get out of here. There's no way I'm going to get to everybody tonight. But I do appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. Nicole Watt, thank you so much for coming in. Nicole, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I'll play my outro. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. All right, so that's it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm done. I'm going to play my outro and get the hell out of here. Everybody have a good week. Whatever you do, don't die. And we'll see you next week. Let's see here. Let me play my outro and I'll get out of here. Thank you, guys.